Are you all ready for this? Da, da, da.
Dun 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 dun.
Hi,
Hello,
James's mum.
James's mum.
Mother's
Mother's
Day.
Day, James's
Dun
mum.
dun dun dun.
Can someone
James's
can someone grab the Twitch and freaking
Mother's Day, James's mum.
do the arbitrary spamming? Can someone grab the Twitch and
The arbitrary.
Arbitrary.
I mean, just do the arbitrary.
Is that like a tree?
Oh,
The
Taxi!
arbitrary?
Taxi, you're here. That's amazing. Thank you for joining us. I basically just so the party are aware, I've been quite excitedly spreading the word of the Dysfunctionals this week, and I've invited
Like
a few
cleric.
people to watch. Taxi, my good friend. Oh, that's fucking. Sorry, I have that's a meme from university, guys. You know. It's like Rick and Morty. You need to be like the right level of intelligence to get. I'm kidding. Anyway, welcome back. Welcome back to the stream.
Don't lose us now.
Captain Black Whisker. I don't know what your name is, but I have my suspicions. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure Captain Black Whisker is one of the kids from the school D&D guys.
Huh.
So it's good to see you. Hope you're doing all right. Staying safe. Staying safe, I hope.
Yeah.
And thank you for joining us, the Nobles. It was great to talk to you the other day on stream, and yeah, hope you enjoy this. We play Dungeons and Dragons on this stream, but we also have a series of announcements. Hi, Mello. We have a series of announcements. The first and the most important one that I've been working on for weeks is that I finally sorted the 50 follower giveaway by basically giving money on PayPal to Professor Harmless. I just gave him cash for a dice set. I couldn't actually get a dice set to him. It was madness. But anyway, thank you for joining us. We are, you might notice by the name of the stream, we have taken a change in direction. It's all been about just like establishing the game and making sure that the Twitch setup is okay. I'm aware that there may be some frame rate issues, and they usually resolve as the stream continues. I'm not sure how much I can do about that for the time being. Bear with me. We are going to try and go for Twitch affiliate, which means we have some ideas in the work as to new ideas for streams, which may involve playing video games to up our monthly kind of number of streams. Because at the moment it's about 2 or 3 a month, and it needs to be at 7, which is doable. But we need to have more sources for that than just this D&D game. So you can expect some fun involving, I don't know, characters from this campaign perhaps playing Skyrim, or perhaps doing what Critical Role are currently doing, narrative telephone streams, which could be quite fun. We're in the planning stage with all that kind of stuff.
Would we be in character, or would the players, try to mimic the character who's telling the story? Or is it us, our characters trying to...
Yeah, effectively.
I think the character telling the story is best.
I love the idea of all of those things being
Kyro
possible.
would not be good at it.
Yeah, I mean, let's think about how this goes. I want to effectively, what I've done is I've actually stepped back from a couple of other D&D games I've been involved with recently, because guys, I've got to be honest, I've played a lot of D&D, but the ones that are set in Ufi are my just absolute favorite. I love this campaign setting. I love these characters, and here I think is where I want to kind of plant my flag in the ground and commit to producing more content, because I think it's fun and I think it's enjoyable. Thank you all for joining us. What else? Thank you to Devvado for designing the character icons you can see on the screen around you. We are continuing to commission Devvado for more artwork, soon to be coming. Does anyone have any other announcements?
Feel free to commission me for
Any
artwork too if you want.
Happy Mother's Day.
Oh yeah, it was Mother's Day in the US yesterday. God bless Mum. And sorry, we start every.
And in Australia.
It's basically everywhere except for the UK, isn't it?
It's quite funny.
Yeah, we're so
Do they
conceited.
not have moms there?
No, we don't. We're like dwarves. We just pop out of holes in the ground. Yeah.
Is that canonical?
No, it's not. They don't.
I was found in a cabbage patch.
In Lord of the Rings, dwarven women just are
Yeah.
indistinguishable from male dwarves, and also tend to not go out adventuring because there's so few of them,
It's the beards.
and they
Enough.
are thus considered very precious and in need of protection.
Okay.
Speaking of beards, I'm actually very proud of this. You see this?
Yeah, you should be, mate.
Looking
You should
good.
be. It is looking
Framed your
very, very
face.
sharp.
Everyone that I've talked to, like in and around work, it's remote, right? So I just have my selfie face on. And everyone's saying that I should keep it, so I think that I actually will.
Nice.
I think I'm.
Oh
Gonna keep it.
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm a renewed fan of the stream now.
amazing. We came for beard.
I was
We stayed.
starting to wane.
Yeah.
And then this happened. Totally in now.
Beard brought you back.
I'm invested.
Yeah, like my camera has failed, so as
Don't worry
to
about it.
disguise the joy on my face.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's still strange.
So, without further ado,
Oh, no.
welcome back to the next episode of the Dysfunctionals.
Oh yeah. Already.
Because
And
we both
welcome back. You should hear the stuff that these people say while the credits are running, guys. It's just
Dumb and amazing.
it's not good for Twitch. Let's just say that.
I'm glad we don't have mums because
we
we'd
don't.
be disowned.
We'd be
We're
ashamed.
British. I love that. Like every stream starts with "Hello, James's mum," and none of you wish my
ironic,
mother
isn't
a
it?
happy
People are
Mother's
going
Day.
to be
Like,
so confused about why we do that.
oh yeah. Oh, also, like, if you guys check the description below, there's a Discord. Please come and join us because it would be great to talk to you and build a bit of a community. I forgot to say that earlier on.
Sometimes I hop in on the voice call even.
It's very good of you to do that. I don't.
It might be good to have your mum in for a call on one occasion.
Should we stream a live chat with my mum?
Yes.
Oh, I
1,000
think
times
that
yes.
That should be like a goal.
I think
that
getting
we
your-
work
Not to
mum
be
in
too
for a
Kyro,
one
but I would
shot
love to talk to your mum.
would be the most superb piece of internet television available to the internet.
We should do it in character.
Yes.
Oh god, and just be
Wait,
like,
that could be weird.
whereas
Oh,
James's mum
the
is just
cheek-
playing James's mum.
James, don't do that to your mother.
Well,
Yeah.
at
I'll
least
try
if
not to
we're gonna
do
do
Mum
that,
has been
like,
transported
Warn her.
suddenly and against her will into a fantasy land,
Just an
and
isekai.
she is escorted by the Dysfunctionals.
Oh no.
And it's just like a momentary aside from wherever it is we are.
Yeah, maybe.
Like we've all been dragged out of reality for a moment.
Or maybe it's just one during one of your downtime sessions, which is going to happen at some point after I murder you all. Anyway, welcome back.
What?
It's not going to
The
happen.
longest
Maybe.
downtime of all. Death.
Oh god.
The true downtime.
Oh, I don't know what to say.
The only way necromancer can raise a family.
Wait, what?
Anyway,
Yeah, it's the only way a necromancer can raise a family.
that's true.
Oh, that's really funny.
I mean, guys, sometimes we play Dungeons and Dragons on this stream. It is.
So excited.
Welcome back to Ufai,
Sometimes.
the town slash city,
froze.
mini city of Farenloth, on the kind of northern edge of the continent. You can see the map underneath us. It is currently the 15th of Kythorn in the Forgotten Realms calendar, which this world follows, year 2274. It's roughly 6 o'clock p.m. in the evening, and the sun is beginning to set over this farming community. And even though it is a springtime month, we're relatively north, so it's still the air is still biting cold as it flows through the sort of dirty, narrow streets of this rural community. You have explored this town, home of Ella Ickleberry, played beautifully by my fiancée Zoe, in search of answers surrounding the mysterious death of Ella's best friend Mara. You have discovered in the last day a map to the location of an ancient castle hidden deep within the Winter Wastes, which is the hang on, let me see if I can, on this side of the map you can see this section here over this little kind of spit of land that links the Winter Wastes to the main continent. You found a detailed map of that kind of area of Ufai, the hiding place of Count Manelignum of Trindegan, a mysterious individual who apparently heads a cult devoted to himself. The group removed themselves to the library of Ronzu Thunderden, Ella's maternal grandfather, where they made several copies of this peculiar tome, further solidifying your grasp on a new direction of travel on this quest for justice for Mara, the childhood friend murdered by this twisted red faction. And actually, before I go on, just bear with me. Looking through my notes. Yeah, while you were copying, you recognised, I'll say that Elvish is kind of widely enough kind of visible in culture.
Yeah, knows Elvish.
Okay, so there's words in Elvish on the map that you're able to copy across, and words in Abyssal as well.
Oh boy, Abyssal.
No, he knows Infernal, not Abyssal.
Ooh, never mind. But the symbols you don't recognise, but you're able to copy them across without much trouble because you were there for hours and you rolled really well in your check. So you've got several copies of a map with some words that you understand, some words you don't. The words that you do understand are over several sort of rocky crags and mountainous regions within these wastes. And in the Elvish words read, "Step ye careful, lest ye be broken." It's a detailed view of the islet, connected by that thin section of land. Towards the centre of the mass is an apparently ancient castle, accessible through a very, very narrow pass on the northwestern kind of side. So it looks like the way that you're going to have to get there if you are to travel, if you would like to travel there, of course, is by going further north and then kind of scoping it around, approaching it from the north as opposed to from the south, which is probably the reason why it's been able to be kept hidden so well for so long. Cool. Just bear with me. Now you are heading towards the centre of town, towards the guardhouse. Kyro, you were looking to inquire about a letter that you believe your brother might have sent you. He's been regularly messaging you using his magical abilities from the Trine Temple on the top of the mountains of Trine on the other side of the country. You're stopped en route by none other than Jojorawr himself, your brother, running across. But that's not who you notice first. Who you notice first is a very, very old and hobbly, half skipping, half dragging himself along with his cane, golden, faded gold scale dragonborn with a set of kind of leather armor that appears to be worn but still seems to be holding together quite well. He's got a single white glove over his left hand, and a sparkle in his eye as he bustles into one of the passers-by. A guard that's nearby kind of steps forward going, "What's going on here?"
"Let me tell you something, sonny. You don't know who I am. I'm Zendron Coldsteel, bitch. You ever heard of Morkel?"
Zendron, come on. Settle down. It's okay.
Whatever.
God kind of
and
gives
Joral's
Jorah,
going to try to smooth things over in his he's a bard. He's gonna try to persuade their way through whatever.
What does he say?
Yeah, what was Zendron trying to say? I'm sorry.
So on the way, Zendron relayed to you that he'd like to come to Farenloth, and seeing as you'd written the letter, he's going to teleport across. He knows a teleportation circle within the city of Farenloth. And he knows that there's an academy here that he wants to visit. And hell, why not touch base with everybody while he does it?
So Jojorawr basically explains that we represent an adventuring guild, and we came here in search of recruits, and that's it, basically.
Oh right. Oh well. I kind of looks across a eccentric pair of sort of adventurers. Well, the guardhouse is actually the direction you came. Kyro, you are approaching. Was anybody with you, Kyro?
I mean, we were all walking towards the guard's house.
So you're all privy to this. You see this altercation happening, and
basically told them where I was headed and if they wanted to come, and everyone came with me.
So what would you guys like to do?
I'm walking towards my brother. What is exactly happening though? Are they being like questioned by guards?
No, you see the guard kind of like nod in recognition and then point in the opposite direction as if directing them somewhere.
Okay.
Jojorawr, you'll look up and you'll see. Oh, it's Kyro.
Hey! He'll skip on over to go hug you.
He hugs you back.
Yay!
You get lifted off the ground somewhat. What are you doing here?
Well, I wrote you a letter, and then I went to Zendron and started asking him how I could deliver the letter. And then Zendron was like, maybe we should just teleport there. And then I'm like, well, sure. And then here we are.
If you've got it, you get a frontier, am I right?
He's taking you back too, right? Yes?
He looks at Zendron like he didn't think of that.
Yes, I'll teleport you back, it's fine.
Okay, good. It's great to see you.
That'd be kind of not cool if you just like left me here.
I'll teleport you back, it's fine. Along with anybody that we can find. Need to start building, yes, building. That's what we need to do. Right. Oh, God, it's you. Hello, everybody. Well, I was not expecting to literally run into you as soon as we got here. How's it going?
Nuru waves, and she's like, I don't know these people.
This is my brother.
Yeah, I can see. He looks kind of like you, but like prettier.
Thanks.
I didn't mean it like that. And
no, it's fine.
And Joral's like kind of laughing.
He is prettier, yes.
A couple of guards approach from behind them, and kind of like approach Zendron from the rear. He kind of like his kind of head kind of tilts as he hears someone approach from behind. He turns around, and the two guards, who are looking a little bit on edge, kind of approach and go, "Excuse me, you just left one of our lodging buildings. We actually have like an ex-captain of the guard staying in that house. How did you get in?"
Son, there's a lot of shit that you don't know about me. But here's one thing that I'll tell you for free. I go where I want to go. And if I know the teleportation circle for the house on top of that hill, I reserve the right to use it.
Guards look a little bit taken aback.
If there's a teleportation circle in the middle of your guardhouse, that might be a security problem.
You know, Jojorawr, that it wasn't in the guardhouse itself. It was in a separate building that they use for like accommodation.
Never mind, he doesn't say that.
It was actually quite a large building, 3 stories tall, with multiple bedrooms on every floor, and the teleportation circle was in the back.
Okay.
Yeah. So you know that you guys arrived, you bustled out, and there were apparently a couple of guards just on patrol, saw you exit.
Sorrel just calmly tells them where their teleportation circle was and that it's not a security problem.
Make a persuasion check.
Okay.
Roll that d20.
Okay. His persuasion is 23.
23. They kind of look at each other a bit peculiarly, and one of them goes, "Well, as long as you stay out of trouble, just make sure that you communicate with the guard about wanting to use it again, all right?"
All right. We'll make sure of that.
We should probably go report this to the captain. That's a good idea. They turn and they walk away.
Joral's trying to be cooperative and nice because, you know.
You do.
Yep. I mean, you guys aren't really particularly aware of this because you don't know much about Zendron's past, but he does have, in one of his back pockets currently, a really old, really faded pamphlet on teleportation etiquette that he has completely forgotten about. Cool. Anything else? Anyone else?
Jared's just basically like, do you guys want to go get some food somewhere? Or?
Sure. Hey, Zendron, let's go get some food with them.
I think that's a great idea. Nothing takes it out of me more than teleporting and being a dick to gods.
Anyway, a tavern's as good a place to look for recruits as any.
You guys make your way. Yeah, you can make your way to
Oh,
Hostel
well,
County.
part of the reason why we're here is
while we're walking.
Yeah.
And he starts explaining that part of the reason why they're here is that the thinking of recruiting people for the temple, basically, and he was like, this place is full of. They've got a mage school here, which means that it's going to be full of a bunch of young upstart mages with nothing to do.
Yeah.
So like, seems like a good place to recruit. Also, like, actually, yeah, you could probably roll insight on Jojorawr here.
Okay.
Crack on.
I mean, I can just.
I mean, you know him.
Sure.
What'd you roll?
Well, my roll's an 11, but plus my modifier, it's a 12.
You get the sense that maybe Jojorawr has like other reasons for wanting to do that, because he's like a little more like enthusiastic about recruiting than you would expect him to be.
Yeah, you're normally not this enthusiastic about recruiting. That is a note I make.
Does he say that?
No.
Okay.
All right. So you guys make your way back to the tavern that you've been staying in the last couple of nights, the Hostel Calnia. The door swings open. You know that immediately to the right in the corner there's a big booth that's usually kept empty except for larger parties, which this group now constitutes. Arthrin has been kind of doubling back, just almost half sort of being amused by and half helping Zendron as he kind of starts struggling in. As Zendron, who is the last of the party to walk inside, makes his way through the threshold, he kind of like leans on his staff. Arthrin raises a hand and he quickly, with his left hand with the white glove still on,
I'm fine. No problem at all. Just been a while since I've been walking across a town like this. Oh.
Makes his way into the booth along with the rest of you. So if this is going to be your lodging for the evening, 7 silver pieces for a night's stay. That's per room, and each room will host 2. Zendron will go up to the bar and he'll sort himself out in Jojorawr. You can buy drinks, you can buy meals. Let me find my
I just remembered. I'm pretty sure I gave most of my money to Kyro. He is.
Zendron's got you spotted. Zendron's got you spotted.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's the adult here. He's your chaperone.
Okay.
That's right, I'm the chaperone. I'm so mature.
Anyway, does anyone have any orders of business for the evening?
Nuru will probably buy a room. Whoever wants to room with her is cool. How much is it? Was 2 silver?
7.
7?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I can split a room with Arthrin, I guess.
Oh, all right.
Per room or per person?
It's per room, and each room sleeps 2.
Got it.
Might as well.
Sure. I'll I mean, this is the first time you've seen your brother in a while, right?
Zendron. I mean, if you want to switch with him and Zendron, sure.
Yes.
Looks at Jojorawr.
If you want to stay with your brother, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, of
yes,
course.
It does. I agree with your statement.
The scraggly boys with me.
I'll still split the cost, though, with you.
I mean, all right.
No, he's talking to Arthrin.
Oh, Arthrin kind of pulls out 3 silver and 5 copper and hands them over to you.
Yeah.
Cool. Right.
And anyhow,
if no one else has any orders of business, you can have just a quiet meal and then stay for the night. Or if you want, oh wow, D&D Beyond has changed.
has it?
The numbers are so big. Yeah.
It's because they've added a dice roller. You can now click the numbers and it will roll the dice.
Yep.
Oh man, that's cool. That's cool. So yes, Kyro, you gain 3 silver and 5 copper because that's half of the cost of a room.
Yeah.
You gain that from Arthrin. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, Twitch streaming audience, you might be able to see the D&D Beyond overlay on the stream, which you can see, and all the characters are on the left. The left. It's on the left.
Yes, on the left.
On the left. So feel free to check out our character sheets using that tool. It's freaking sick. Anyway, so
on the right.
Second star on the right and we're straight on until morning. If none of you have any points of order or discussions that you want to have, I guess you guys will settle down for the evening. No.
I will say at some point Nuru approaches Jojorawr and is like, "So hi, I'm Nuru," and he's like, "Yeah, I heard about you. You're the cat woman. Never seen a cat woman." And she's like, "Well, now I've seen 2 cave elves." And anyway, what's your favorite color? and he's like, what? Dark blue, I guess. She's like, okay, thanks. And she's gonna scurry off somewhere. And Jojorawr looks confused.
I mean, I don't see a reason why we have to be 2 to a room specifically. Like, I don't need a bed. If you know, just putting that out there.
Jojorawr's like, it's nice to have
sorry,
one.
I was reacting to what Zoe was typing in the chat about rooms.
Okay.
Jojorawr would at some point try to, like, is Ella around?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, so, I heard something about your mom. I mean, it's fine if you don't want to talk about it, but the bits I got from Kyro were like something about your mom disowning you, or.
Oh. Yeah, kind of, you know, how it is. You butt heads with your parent. You know, you get in an argument. She banishes you from the family home. You know, that kind of thing.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you.
Sucks
Anyway.
No, I know what. I mean, I'm not saying I know exactly what you're going through, but, like, I had sort of a weird relationship with my mom, so, you know, sympathize, I guess.
What was your mum like?
Oh, well, she's a bard. She's where I learned how to bard from. Really good at playing the violin. Really passionate. Drank too much. She was really upset about losing Dad.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't know if you know this, but my name in Drowish means garbage.
Specifically, it means junk.
Yeah, like, you know, useless junk. And
So
I think maybe she wished I was a girl, or wished I didn't look as much like my dad as I do. But she sort of acted like looking at me made her upset.
Arthrin's going to cut in and say, Jojorawr, I was about to say it's really good to see you again. I hope you know that.
Oh, yeah, hi. What's up?
I was just going to say, I hope you know that we don't think that you're junk.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah.
I'm like it's. I mean, I've lived with my name forever, so it's fine.
Just
And
speaking of
I
someone.
know that my friends care about me, and that's important, And like, and it's fine because
I didn't know Drowish. I actually thought Jojorawr is a really cool name.
well, it can be if you take it other ways, I guess.
Anyway.
Like,
anything else?
It could be a really punk name if you think about it. Like,
yeah.
Like if my name was Trash or
like you wear it ironically. Yeah. Anyway, any other orders of business?
The RP chat that me and Yell had outside of stream we'll have tonight.
Oh, okay.
We'll just assume that happened as it's a pretty empty night.
That's fine. Is there a possibility that that's going to be shared like on the Discord server maybe? Did you say that you're up for that, or would you rather keep it to yourselves?
I'm happy to.
By the way,
cool. Be on the server then.
Jojorawr's like, by the way, he looks to see what's Kyro doing.
He's sitting there.
Okay,
like,
good. He's sitting down,
drinking water.
Meals have been brought to you by the chef from behind the counter. Arthrin's paid for it.
By the way, I got a message to Kate recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's great.
She's fine. Apparently, she had. Apparently, Mom's alive and Kate has her confined somewhere.
Ah.
I mentioned that our dad's alive, and Kate said something like, "Well, I'm not going to be the one to tell her."
Yep. Fuck.
All right.
So
I'm gonna go to my room now.
Just thought I'd let you know.
Ella and Yell, if you guys, I don't know. Yeah. Kyro leaves.
Jorah looks uncomfortable, but it needed to be said.
Right.
Wow.
Takes a drink.
Yeah.
Was that an invitation to go talk to Kyro?
I think so.
It's kind of hard to read, that guy.
I mean, you could talk to him. He might need someone to talk to, but
sounded like
he's probably feeling a bit overwhelmed.
I get the feeling he probably needs a few minutes of quiet with his own thoughts.
I assumed he meant he
Save
was
somebody
going to
else.
bunk with you
Tell
guys.
him what they are.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Jody, can you say that again?
I assumed he meant he was going to bunk with you guys tonight.
Oh, maybe. Sorry, Nuru? Or Jojorawr, sorry?
What?
You were in the middle of saying something, sorry. What were you going to say?
He was just saying, like, well, you could talk to him. Probably should let him cool off, but then, I might want someone to talk to.
Okay.
Give him 5, and then we'll go up.
5 minutes pass.
That went quick.
The food is so good and the company's so enjoyable, the time flies by.
Ella will get up and go up.
The 5 minutes are punctuated by Zendron getting so excited about being out and about again. He attempts to light one of the kind of candelabras hanging from the ceiling, the kind of cheap ones, by throwing a firebolt at it. But before he gets it off, Arthrin stands up and grabs his arm and drags it down. No, Zendron, no.
Hey, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Brüz, seeing this, will cast Thaumaturgy and light the candle just after the arm gets stopped.
Yeah. And when it happens, Zendron, making a wisdom saving throw, Yep, that'll do. He kind of looks at it, goes,
Hey, you see, I had it all along.
sits back down.
And then he snuffs it out.
As Zendron sits down, he's no longer looking at the candelabra.
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool. Ella.
Hello. Oh, I put her up.
Double join.
And do we know which room he's staying in? Or
We'll assume for the sake of this, and yes.
Yeah.
Right, the room
Yeah.
numbers
Okay.
were
I
given
mean,
to you.
Joral does, and he's still.
Yeah.
Knock down into every door.
Joel's probably, while this is going on, he's probably going to try just to, I don't know. There's people here, so he's probably going to try chatting up random strangers to learn about any potential recruits.
Oh, okay.
Just use that charm that he's got.
I'll give you a general persuasion to kind of ingratiate yourself, followed by an
Okay.
investigation check to see how much you really pick up.
Okay, my ingratiating myself is 27.
You feel like you are liked around this bar. There's something in the
Yeah.
inflection of your voice, your charming personality, maybe the lengthening shadows as the sun sets across your meal that really gives your hair and your eyes a vibrancy that's appealing to the people around here who don't see many of the kinds of people as have been in
He's
here in the first few
exotic.
days. Very much so. What was your investigation?
An investigation. Let's see. That is 15.
15. You pick up that it's the senior kind of individuals at the Arcanum Academy who would decide about things like term structure and about like semesters and practical examinations, which is something that you don't really recognize. You've never heard of such a thing.
Well, I mean, there are magic schools in the Underdark. Not
okay.
that he was ever in one, but
so you'll be vaguely aware of the fact that there are tests for pupils and stuff, but nothing in major detail. So you get the sense that it currently is in the midst of term time, but there's a break coming up at the end of next week. So you'd have to wait around here for a little while before necessarily having anyone back, but it would involve pupils and students breaking their tuition to the academy, which might be nice. It might be fine if they are in their last year and they're looking for that kind of work anyway. They might break away from their studies. It's probably the senior year that you'd want to inquire with, but that would be
so
at
it
the
is
academy.
a good time to be looking around.
Potentially for the seniors. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
he has gotten info.
And you get that investigation roll. You know where the Arcanum Academy is. You'll be able to find it tomorrow without much problem.
Yeah.
Cool. You are heading up to the room, Ella and Yell.
Ella will do a little knock.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Sure.
go open the door.
Little-
Oh, hi.
Hello. Are you okay?
Nah, you know. I'm fine.
Sight check.
I think that's an insight against deception, isn't it?
Sure.
I like
He's
you.
not-
No one.
He's not actively. It's not.
Okay, so if
You
you're
know,
not,
he's not feeling that well, but that he's also not as upset as he was. Just sort of that passive level of not doing well that he normally is.
Come in.
Of course, yeah.
Sure.
He goes into the room.
Ella bustles into the room. Immediately
Just
behind
sit
come strides
floor.
Yell. Quite the pairing. Little gnome,
Eh.
much taller tiefling. Bit of a
He does seem more relaxed now, though.
Yeah. Trying to think of like a animated pair that would match that kind of vibe. Never
Yeah.
mind.
Tom and Jerry.
Tom and Jerry. That'll do.
Wow, it's great to see my brother, huh?
Yeah, that was unexpected.
Yeah.
Did you have a good catch up with him?
What? No, I mean, I figure I'll just talk to him when he comes up.
Fair enough. Fair
You
enough.
guys can stick around if you want. I don't mind.
Ella sits down on the floor cross-legged, makes herself comfortable and settled.
He smiles at her.
I mean, she's settled for a chin wag.
Oh, nice. Sorry, he brought up your mom in the middle of everything. It was weird.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay, that's good.
I mean, you're brothers. You talk. I honestly, I don't mind.
That's good.
I have siblings too, so I do the same. I talk to them.
Of course.
With a chin wag.
I prefer to have conversations behind closed doors, is all. He's always been louder.
Yeah, you are the quiet one of the two, aren't you?
Yeah, I guess so. Comparatively, certainly.
So, Yell, how are you doing?
Doing okay.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah.
I want to try to incite them.
Yeah, go for it. Are you two trying to hide your purpose for coming up to the room, or
No.
No?
Ella isn't.
I
Yep.
just got a 10 then.
a 10, straight 10? If they're not
Yeah.
trying to hide it, you're gonna pick up that they are. Do you think you two would think it's safe to say that you're worried for Kyro, or how are you feeling?
Our names were mentioned, and then Kira just kind of walked off. So like,
Yeah. Okay. So that you're
You
you're partly
Yeah.
wondering why did you say them? You pick up that.
what's up?
And yeah, Ella's can, as well as that, can, just a bit concerned into making sure he is okay.
Cleric mode.
Cleric mode, healing the party in every form.
I got you covered.
Finding out my mom is alive is good. He says.
So, I'm a tad lost with this.
But also, it's not good for other reasons.
So you
guess.
guys thought your mum was dead?
We thought she might be. We weren't sure. We had to leave in a hurry.
Oh, okay. Why? If you don't mind me asking.
I don't. It's just a lot of things happened.
Well, you could put it in bullet point form.
What?
Short,
Oh,
little.
bullet points? Okay.
You could ask Joral about it if you want.
Joral's
Since
not
she was
there.
trying to summon a demon or something, I didn't think that was a great idea. We thought about it. Joral smashed her over the head with a violin. I remember that vividly. And then the circle started glowing, and we were like, oh, fuck. So we dragged her out, and then I was like, we can't be here. So we ditched, basically.
Oh,
Oh,
I wasn't expecting that.
Just kind of hoped Kate was around. Well, turns out she was, so that's good. I mean, she's the one who sort of told me what was going on, so yeah.
Do you know why your mum was summoning the demon?
I can guess, but I don't really know. I didn't really have the... Well,
No, you would have. She
yeah.
would have told you.
I mean, she wanted to try to get my dad back. I guess. I don't
So
know.
this-
Your dad, right? And he's still alive.
Yeah.
So did you guys think that your dad had passed away?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We
So
were under the impression he was dead.
So she was trying to summon him back, but instead she got a
Maybe.
demon.
Maybe. She wasn't the most coherent at the time.
Oh. Yeah, I know what that's.
Also, I was kind of having to fight her when I said that it was a bad idea. My mom gets mad.
Oh, they're freaking scary when they're mad, Mum.
Yeah.
There's this look that they got down to a T.
Right.
In your boots. You slightly pee your pants.
You get fucking chucked into like a small box or something. Yeah.
Well,
excuse me?
I mean, never experienced the small box thing, but. Oh, okay. So I can see why you were a bit upset about hearing about that.
Yeah, I mean, these things happen. Sometimes you don't expect them to happen. When they do, then they do happen. Yeah.
Would you do anything about it now? You have this new information?
I have to tell her. I mean, I don't have to. She did try to kill me. I mean, Joel, I'm gonna probably have to talk to Joel about that.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, does your dad know about this?
No. I mean, I didn't know if she was alive or not at the time.
You told Cynthia that she's probably dead.
Well, no, I left it open-ended. I wasn't telling him anything.
You said something that indicated that she was probably dead.
Yeah, maybe. She might be dead, yeah, something like that.
Okay. Well.
But
point is, Cynthia thinks she's dead.
Yeah, he seemed real excited about it.
He was not.
Well, okay. Wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
It's
different.
Yeah.
So,
he shrugs.
Wasn't necessarily what you wanted to originally talk about before the news came to light.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a completely different topic.
Oh, new topic. What's that new topic about?
Oh.
She wiggles her bum, gets in closer.
Think like primary school kid or like, kindergarten kid, just ready for story time.
Just looks at them. Well, I was talking to Eirys last night, and she said it would be good if I talked to Yell about how to be better at communicating. So that was part of it. And Nuru also. She's very loud and emotional. She was crying at me about Arthrin. It was weird. Anyway, she explained some stuff about your culture.
Anyway. Hang on, Mike.
Huh?
Oh, our culture. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, right. Topside culture, right.
Topside. Yeah. Cool.
Topside culture.
So you need Mr. Yell to teach you a few things.
I also had questions for you too, Ella.
Oh, happy to answer.
I mean, are we going to be here for a while, do you think? Or maybe? Because you're from here.
Maybe.
Okay.
I mean, we got to. I suppose we got to kind of stock up with supplies and stuff, and then we got to get to this castle.
Yeah.
Supplies, they cost money.
Maybe after the castle or before. I don't know. Depends on how long in time and such. But, like, are there fun things to do here? Like,
Oh, there's loads of stuff you can do here. Loads.
okay.
Like,
Ella, make an intelligence check. Make a history check.
Oh, I'm good at those. I can do those.
Thank God. You're also from here.
History, where are you?
Dum dum dee dee.
magic breads from the little bakers.
And I do consider you guys friends, so I figured it'd be good to talk to about. Yeah.
25.
25. Yeah, you know that there are regular services at the Temple of Helm that you can visit. There are also when you first arrived in Farenloth through the temple teleportation circle, you were taken to like a small spherical chamber on the left of like the main chamber as you walked in, and that was a small meditation sort of space which is accessible for public use for quiet reflection. There's a stable in town that not only kind of offers horses for sale, but also for rent. So you could rent out a horse and go on a ride for a day. You can visit the temple library free. You can visit the Zu Thunderdon library. What else? There's a bathhouse that offers quite exquisite sort of fragrant aromatherapy baths and massage therapies for the high-paying clients. 25. I need to give you something good.
Is there any, like, I don't know, like places where people put on plays or anything like that?
The theatre that comes through is more of a travelling circus. And it does a variety of just like general kind of bang for your buck mass entertainment, and then also the troupe can also produce more kind of informed theatre. You don't remember specifically if there's actually a custom, like a proper theatre in Farenloth, but you seem to remember from growing up here that there may be some kind of amateur dramatic society of some kind, made up of local individuals.
I mean, like, I imagine, like, wizards and stuff, they might, that are more of an artistic type, might be interested in, like, special effects for that kind of thing.
Potentially. Ella might remember that there's some kind of... there might be individuals of that nature who might use prestidigitation magics to illuminate the shows and lighten that kind of thing. And as well as that, obviously, the Arcanum Academy offers demonstrations at semi-regular intervals. You know that towards the end of next week, there's a break in the semester, and at that point, they sometimes ask for pupil volunteers, student volunteers to offer demonstrations of arcane wonders, just as a bit of a celebration of culture. Trying to think of anything else. There's a blacksmith in town. You remember that the Barrington Bakery has a variety of experimental flavors in its menu, but that was literally yesterday for you, so you remember that.
She tells Kyro all of this.
Wow.
I wonder if you could play ping pong with teleportation circles.
Oh, excuse me, that was Yale.
I don't think she's...
Cast the spell, you serve, and it goes to the other teleportation circle on the other side. They serve it back, cast the spell.
I don't know how good of an
back
idea to do something crazy magical, but okay.
Okay, we're gonna have to test this out, Yale.
Yell and Ella, you need make no roll. The magical energy required would be phenomenal. That would be the pastime of choice for demigods.
I mean, maybe we could rob Charo.
Well, maybe one day.
One day, when we're great and powerful,
we'll cast teleportation circle to play ping pong.
Yes.
Gotta find some combats first.
Why did you want to know, Kyro? What, were you planning on doing some downtime? Like, have some fun?
I mean, ideally,
lick
yeah.
hair loose?
I want to spend time with Eirys, yes.
You remember that Eirys regularly trains with Arthrin, and Eirys, just for the clarification, you guys have been carrying on with that as and when the time is allowed, we'll say?
Yeah, every
Yeah.
evening as much as possible.
Yeah, that's
She's
something
quite
that's...
busy.
Yep. Cool.
She could always have a night off.
Yeah, ideally.
Anyway, cool. So, what do you want to learn from Yell?
Right.
Talk better, I guess.
Right.
Maybe start from the absolute basics then.
Ah, great.
Okay, like how to say hello, how to say goodbye, how to inquire how someone is, that kind of
Have
thing.
I been doing that wrong?
No. Has she? Has he? I don't know. I don't know. I'm so used to you now, Kira.
Okay, well, that's good. That's you
I mean, no, but you could definitely expand your expressive repertoire. Your hellos and goodbyes. Show a bit more.
Like say hey.
Smile.
That's good.
Smiling.
There's, changing the pitch and tone of your voice as you talk.
And smile. You got pearly white teeth. You should show them off.
He grimaces. Okay. I typically smile when I feel like it. Usually. Maybe it's not a lot.
You've definitely both noticed that Kyro has relaxed steadily since you guys have arrived at Farenloth. I put expand your expressive repertoire on the quote wall on the Discord server.
That's a great idea, Yell. I'll take it into consideration. How would I do that? I mean, I guess the tone thing. What?
Well, I mean, you it definitely has its advantage. Words hard, difficult.
Thank you.
Words aren't that difficult. Come on, guys.
This is
being
not
monotone definitely has its advantages in keeping secrecy and intentions hidden.
Yes.
But, also, expressing oneself and exaggerating certain points can lead to people opening up about things more. Maybe getting cheaper prices at shops. More friends.
I do understand that, yes. Generally speaking, it's easier when I'm relaxed.
That's fair. Just what makes you relaxed?
Knowing what the fuck is happening. That makes me feel so relaxed. Often I don't know what the fuck is happening.
Well,
That's the secret. I don't think anybody does.
that's where smiling comes in handy.
It makes
can
me feel
fake it until you
stupid.
make it.
Okay.
If you just smile, it makes things slightly better.
Okay.
Here, I'll show you. Let's see. Just smile. Just smile. Just smile.
I mean, he is. Wait. Alright. I can't.
Could you get close to him?
Kyro, you watch as Ella approaches you and places each of her index fingers on the edges of your mouth and pushes them upwards.
He laughs, actually. Look, it's a smile. He did it. You're very cute. He's just genuinely smiling now because she's cute.
Why, thank you.
Yay!
She shuffles back.
This is nice.
Think thoughts like that moment just then, if it makes you smile, appears less menacing.
I mean,
you don't want to be.
I mean, I know how to smile. I just don't usually smile for no good reason.
That's fair, but sometimes it's
maybe create reasons.
Yeah, and it's,
create reasons. Got it.
Talking to people is not just the words and how you say it; it's also your body and how you act around the people.
How should I be acting?
Not frowning, not growling, not snarling, no arms crossed.
Well, it depends on the emotions you want to convey.
Yeah.
That's true.
If you want to be angry, snarling and arms crossed comes across very good.
Is it
especially
okay
if you're a mother.
to be confident?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
Well, okay.
I mean, just in the temple, I walked with some confidence, got us past how many acolytes without them questioning us at all.
That is true, but I
mean, Ellie, you didn't hear that.
Does it matter at all?
No. Act like you belong. People won't question it.
Oh.
I mean, look at me. I'm a tiefling.
Well, that's good. Okay. I just assumed people...
That's not going to be the case for everybody.
Yeah.
There are definitely dicks out there, but
of course.
for the most part,
there's always dicks.
There is always dicks.
Add that to the quote wall.
It's already there.
Without running into a dick.
You have already erected it onto the quote wall.
Oh, God. So
Sorry,
as that conversation continues and your advice to Kyro continues to cause him to reflect and to think of how future charismatic encounters might be improved, the evening takes its course unless anyone has anything urgent that that you want to talk about with anybody else. We'll take a long rest for the night as everybody heads to their rooms and takes a night's rest.
Well, in regards to that, James.
Oh, yes.
Brüz wants to make sure that he's found that same comfortable chair again downstairs by the fire.
I mean, roll investigation with advantage. This is something you have some experience in.
Why, yes, I do.
Oh, I had another question for y'all. Oh, well, later.
14 plus, where did I put that on the page? Investigation?
Investigation.
14 plus 3, 17.
Yeah, you find it without much trouble. It hasn't moved far. It might have been actually moved to the other side of the fireplace relative to last time by another patron, but it's good.
I think Brüz is going to move it back to where it was.
Okay.
And then he's going to flick his hood up on his cloak to something dark but chair-ish in color. And then just thaumaturgy, control flames and just dim the fire a little. Keep it warm, but just dim it a little so there's a shadow cast on him for the night.
Do you still have your character sheet up?
Yes.
What's your passive perception?
Passive perception's 14.
14. As you lean back and just kind of gently kind of rock around the fire, you become aware of a shadowy figure in the dim of the fire. You glance to the right. It appears to be the person behind the bar, kind of looking over, seeing if the fire needs stoking again. You can either communicate to him that you'd like the fire to be stoked, or just encourage him that it's fine.
Brüz will just control flames and sort of have it like glow up a little brighter, but still sort of keep the shadow just on his sort of side a little. So it just looks like a flame comes out of the other side of it.
He kind of looks at the flame peculiarly, looks at your outstretched hand, the muttering of the spell that you're incanting kind of doubles back and goes behind the bar again. Gives you a bit of a nod as he goes. Cool. So with that as your resting place, everyone will take a long rest, and the next morning will come. As you wake up, Joril, Zendron actually takes a little while to get up.
He was with me, remember?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
He would have come up at some point, actually, and we would have probably have caught up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
so, Yalanella, if you
guys
guys want to
he mostly, like, tells you about what all he's been doing up on the mountain, and...
Do you give him the letter?
Yeah, I give him the letter, because...
Oh, this is excellent.
And he's like, I wrote this, but, I mean, I could just tell you about it.
Look at this. He shows Yalanella the picture that was in the letter. It's very good. It is essentially him with a sword and a dead drake. It's quite good.
But it's drawn by a null pup, so...
It's not well drawn. But it's drawn very well.
Pretty cool.
Joril's like, Vibe made that one.
I told you that one was the best one.
I'm not going to play favorites with my kids.
Jokes.
Again, if you're watching on stream, the server is full of little tidbits of information from the campaign. One of them is the letter that Joril has written and given to Kyro, which I believe is in the resources section. Is there a section like that? I don't know what section it is.
You can always make one.
Maps and documents?
For some reason, there's 2 RP things, and it's in one of those.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Is the RP chat, like, accessible to people from the
I don't know.
server? Okay, I'll take a look at that later.
We'll figure it out later.
I can put it somewhere.
I think it would be cool to make it available for people who want to join the Discord server. And also, at the same time as all this has happened, Eirys and
also,
Yell...
talked to Kate.
So. Yeah. And so conversations that happen during time, the other characters are conversing are also going to appear there, because text-based RP is legit. I'll say that the night passes, the next day comes, just in the interest of making progress here. The morning sun rises. Zendron takes a while to get out of bed. You guys get up, head downstairs. The day is yours. What would you guys like to do on this, the now 16th of Kythorn?
Well, Nuru gives Joril the scarf that she knitted the night before, which is blue and has music notes on it.
Cool.
And she's like, there you go. And he's like, what? Aw.
Quick work.
He ruffles her head because she's a cat, and he's like, wait, is that weird to just pet you like a cat? And she's like, it's fine.
Awesome. Joril has a hand-knitted scarf.
Yeah.
Arthrin sits at the table at the booth that you guys were at last night.
Her head's down with Yalanella.
Yeah. So you guys are just all around the booth that you seem to have somewhat claimed. This was the same place as you guys made when you guys had a bit of a party with Ella's family on your first night in Faranloth as well.
Terribly.
Arthrin kind of perks up. So we have maps. We have an objective. Do we need to make any preparations before we head out? Or do we want to do something else? Or
I need to see Curlin before we leave.
Maybe we should figure out what we're doing next.
I got something.
Okay.
Just for my peace of mind, can we get some holy water? just in case.
Why?
Oh.
What?
You
It
know,
can
in
be
case of
made.
undead or vampires.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
and
You said
and-
that.
and Joral's like, you're taking on vampires? What?
What are your thoughts on this thing that she's saying? He says to everyone.
Seems fine.
It seems
How
a
are
sensible idea.
vampires made? Is it contagious?
Well, it depends on what stories you read, right?
Yes, I
Out of
read
character,
lots of
can I roll for this or?
Roll roll a general history check.
Okay. Hey,
What?
I rolled well. That's why I'm like, yay.
You did?
Yeah, I got a dirty 20.
Okay.
A dirty 20. Yeah, you know that vampirism is something that is spread effectively from vampire to spawn. The vampire chooses a victim, and the vampire either drinks their blood and they become a zombie, just a undead husk, just bound to the will of the vampire, or if the vampire has a particular favorable outlook on their victim, can make that individual into vampire spawn. In terms of how vampires create other vampires, there is a sacrament, there is a ceremony, dark and foul, requiring a willing, consenting participant.
Interesting. Okay.
As in, the option is, I mean, the phrase that sticks out in your mind from the fables that you've heard is the phrase "die now or live forever."
Die now or live forever. Oh, okay, that makes sense, yeah. What would the undeadness?
Yeah. Die now or live forever. I think it's, and you get the sense that dirty 20 is good. You get the sense that obviously being made into like a mindless zombie is akin to death, but actually giving your servitude willingly to become either, to become another vampire is effectively a form of immortality.
Yeah. Undeath.
Undeath.
Way.
With more free will attached.
He sort of explains this as like, yeah, vampires make other vampires through, I think, ritual usually, or bites or something.
There's a sacrament.
So
Yeah.
if we get bitten, if this count is a vampire,
Well, that'll kill you, probably.
What?
Yeah, that'll probably just turn you into like a zombie thing. Unless he wants to keep you around or something. But then you're like bound to him or whatever.
Should we deal with the ones in the woods first? Just, clear out
Yeah,
the
we
road
might
with
find out
focus.
more information. Might find out if this guy actually is a vampire or not. Because
That's not a bad
I
idea.
think
if he is, we might
insurance.
want to
And
go.
I mean, we've
Well,
got
we will go,
we've
but
got a
we might want to
heckin'
go later.
we've got a heckin' temple right here. I'm sure they sell holy water, and holy water is good for all types of undead. So,
I mean,
even if we're wrong, we have holy water.
I guess so. We should still maybe confirm that if we can
I mean, sure, yeah, of course.
before we buy
But-
holy water.
It would definitely help me to sleep better.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
so
holy water.
you guys are heading out for holy water then. Is there anything else?
Kylan.
Oh, I thought we were gonna go.
Yeah.
Kylan, sorry, let me write that down.
General
Yeah,
supplies.
I thought we might go
Yeah.
deal with the red cloaked people.
General supplies. So you're going to go after the cultists that you know are nearby because you found one of them running towards a particular outcropping of trees nearby town.
Mm-hmm.
Brüz wants to have gone to the bakery first thing.
The bakery. Okay, we can play that
Down
out
to
quickly.
see Barry and Barry.
Stoking again.
Yeah.
Yes, the Barrington brothers. Yeah, yeah. Communicate to him that.
Yes.
He's gonna address Nuru. And Brüz. You can both turn into animals. Maybe today you could go check out their setup,
Sounds good to me.
and we can do that other stuff like the holy water thing
Do some
and
spying.
whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I
mean, if we're going into the
Ella can make
wilderness, we should
holy
go.
water.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Can clerics make holy water?
Out of character, yes. They have to cast, I believe, bless. I think it might be bless that they need to cast on
That
water.
sounds right.
Or there's some sort of
I
ritual
remember-
associated with it, but yeah.
I remember it just being a sort of a bit of a like a time spent and some silver expended in the process.
Might be that.
A
I
cleric.
will look it up as I walk.
Yeah. As you kind of reflect, Ella, this is something that you'll probably have picked up, and Brüz too, as with you're both cleric, have levels in cleric. You take a 1 hour ritual using 25 gold pieces worth of powdered silver, and use as a first level spell slot to create one amount of holy water, one flask of holy water.
One vial, yeah.
It does 2d6 radiant damage.
It's like a Molotov.
Holy Molotov.
Basically, yeah.
The holy hand grenade.
Also,
Yeah.
I bet
The holy Molotov
bet
of that
you
joke.
could basically use it in lieu of poison with his blades.
Potentially, yeah.
Oh yeah, I could do that. I mean, water and poison, they're both liquids. It is water based though. Would I assume that would work similarly?
What, applying holy water to a weapon?
You could try and make a holy paste, perhaps. Add some flour and smear
Holy burn.
across the surface.
Bless a sack of flour.
Well, I imagine you would need to use much the same amount of silver to bless a bag of flour.
I would just to confirm this. It's water. It's water with something
Yeah.
dissolved in. So if it's applied to a weapon, it's just going to slide off.
Okay.
So
That would not work.
it's a flask, single
This
use
is very good
ranged
poison
weapon
blade?
attack.
No,
Yeah,
Oh,
like
poison's thicker.
yeah.
water. Nah.
Maybe if we mixed in some honey with the water.
That might contaminate it.
DM problems. You can certainly try.
You'd be very sweet.
Okay, so you're getting
I don't
holy
know anything
water,
about
you're
it,
speaking to
honestly.
Kylan, getting general supplies, and visiting the bakery. Anything else? All right.
Ella might just pop in to see Grandpops. She can do that when people are doing their own things.
So that's at the enchanting shop, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. We should talk about who's doing what. So that'll be Ella at the arcane shop. Brüz is going to the bakery. General surprise, Yell, you said you were taking the lead on that. Eirys, you're visiting Kylan.
Mm-hmm.
And I suppose holy water can kind of be...
That's kind of a last thing in the evening, so we're not wasting spells unnecessarily.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
We're not in a rush to make them. We can make them.
So we're spending a day preparing, and then we're going to head out. Is that what you're suggesting?
To go fight the
Cultists. Yeah.
Well, I mean, before we encounter vampires
fair.
is when we make the holy water.
Oh,
I'm just
okay.
saying.
So maybe just have a rest on the whole holy water thing for the time being,
Well,
because at the moment you're just going out to find the cultists.
yeah.
Yeah. Is Brüz planning on going with Nuru to go scout, look at them?
I mean, if Nuru wants to go to the temple, yeah, Nuru can. So that's actually split up the party fairly nice and evenly, with the exception of Arthrin and Kyro. So Kyro, you can go to either get holy water, visit Kylan, get general supplies, the bakery, or the arcane enchanting shop.
Well, I was thinking we do the Brüz into the bakery. Was thinking the bakery early, and then could do the
No, I'll go visit Kylan.
thingo with Nuru.
Okay. So that's basically given everybody some little thing to do across the morning.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so bakery first. You head in.
Yes, he goes in and greets Barry.
Hello!
Hello, Barry. How are you today, sir?
Oh, can't complain, can't complain. We are our overhead's gone down a considerable amount this week, but you know, the new products we've been selling have flown off the shelves, nice and warm every morning. Actually, as you speak to him, there's another customer with the other Barrington brother who gives a little kind of paper bag with some products in, and the client leaves having paid for his produce.
Brüz turns and goes, "Oh, good morning, Barry."
Hello!
Hello.
Good to see you. It's fantastic. It's good to see, you know, one of your adventuring group back in the market. Would you like something warm for breakfast or late breakfast, a brunch? I like that word, brunch.
No. Well, I'll start with a I may need a few more now. Make it a baker's dozen of the croissant that I got yesterday. They were lovely.
Paper and quill. All right. Yeah, we can do that.
And I was very impressed with your magical produce we got to sample yesterday.
Oh. I got the impression
Do you have any more?
I mean, we haven't gone out of our way to bake any more yet. We actually figured that was a bit dangerous. There was acid and fire.
No. Well, perhaps not those ones, but there were a couple I found very, very entertaining.
I mean, I could whip you up something now, but I can't guarantee what it's going to contain. We still haven't done enough research.
Really?
We haven't done enough research.
Oh, no, that's even better.
All right.
I do like a surprise.
Okay. Hang on. So loaf of bread is 2 copper. So let's say the baker's dozen of croissants is 1 silver, and they'll charge you 2 silver in total for the croissant baker dozen, and then 1 random bread from the basket that you guys sampled earlier on in the last session.
Freshly baked.
Freshly baked.
Freshly baked.
They cannot guarantee what it contains. But you
That's
have it.
all right.
Okay.
That will make it all the more entertaining.
Well, I appreciate your custom. It's not every single person comes in here that's experimenting with potentially explosive bread, so, appreciate that.
Well, Brüz sort of tips his hat as he collects the bag and goes, "Not every one of your customers is as well versed at entertainment as I." And he turns and leaves.
Have a great day.
Heads back towards the tavern. "Good day, Barry. Barry."
Have a good day. Have a good day. Door closes. Cool. So yeah, that was 2 silver pieces. Cool. That's the bakery. Should we just do the general supply run? Yell, what were you going to buy?
Food.
How many units of food? A ration is 5 silver pieces, and it lasts for 1 day. I believe.
I currently have 11 rations. I see.
Yeah.
Let's get 9 rations.
9 5s, 45. 4 gold, 5 silver. Maths! I believe. I'm just double checking. Have you got that? You've marked that off?
Yep.
Is there anything else you're going to get?
No.
All right, we're flying through this.
Remember?
We're flying through this. This is good work, everybody. I'm just checking that the rations do indeed. Why did I even doubt myself? Come on. Cool. So let's go to the enchantment shop. At the side of the Arcanum Academy, the day is already in session. The sounds of the flashing of lights out of the adjacent window shining over the kind of ramshackle shack attached to the side of the Arcanum Academy, the Enchanter's workshop there, almost as much used for producing materials for the teaching of arcane magicians' work as it is for general bits and pieces for whoever might be interested, the few and far between adventurers that come through Varanloth. Ella, you approach and swing open the practically sort of slanted doorway into the workshop, and you see behind the desk there your father. Ella, hi. Kind of opens up the side of the counter, blows it down behind him, comes up and gives you a big hug.
Oh, I give him a big squeeze back.
You gone stronger.
Have I?
Oh. Maybe you've grown a bit. Anyway, how can we help? What brings you to the shop?
Oh, right. Yeah.
He's like, he measures you up to about here on his forehead, so he's just that little touch taller than you are.
Ella tries to puff. Yeah, she tries to puff up her hair as well, make it look taller.
You succeed in doing so. It is pretty.
So on my travels, because I've been traveling. I picked something up. I didn't know if you and Grandpops were interested in it.
Okay, just bear with me. Dad? Yeah. Come on in. Ella's here. It's like a murmur of the voice that you've seen before. Your grandfather approaches, excited by what you found. What have you found?
So I hand them a spell scroll of Ice Storm.
Whoa, okay, he takes a look at it, his eyes widen. Oh my goodness, this is a powerful spell. This is dangerous. Wow, and also very, very valuable. That's remarkable. How long did you say you'd been practicing wizardry specifically?
Not that long. I can do basic stuff, but
I might recommend bear with me a second. How much time have you got today?
I think I've got some time.
Have until lunch?
So, hang on. Let me just.
Yeah, go for it.
Let me just send a message. Check in with them. See if they can come back at lunch.
Yeah.
I try message first to see if anyone's in the radius.
Nobody is.
Nobody is. Okay, that's fine. Oh, she's gonna have to send a sending, isn't she?
Who are you casting sending to?
I will send it to. I'll send it to Yell.
Okay. What does your message contain?
Oh no, I've got to think of something now. Ding dong, Ella calling. Gonna stay at Grandpop's shop till lunchtime.
Lunchtime is one word.
Yeah, just take one off. Is that all okay? Do you need me back sooner? Over and out, Ella?
So that happens, Yell. sliding the kind of ration packs across the counter at the general store as you hear that.
Looks over to the. Sorry for a second. Ding dong, yell responding. Yeah, that should be fine, especially as just used 3rd level spell. So should probably go tomorrow now. Use today as prep. Ding dong, yell over and out.
The human middle-aged pot-bellied guy who's been preparing your ration packs, as you turn around back to pick them up, he's just there like,
A message.
Arcanum Academy. Okay, yeah. Not for me.
Yeah.
Not for me. Anyway, back at the academy. So back at the enchanting shop, adjacent to the academy. Here. Yeah, you get that message.
Stay till lunchtime, no problem.
All right. I actually, I have some notes that I think you might be interested in. It's going to take time, and it might take some resources on my part. Would you mind me taking the Ice Storm spell scroll? And in exchange,
No.
I might be able to give you some spells of that might be accessible to you.
Her eyes just immediately get wider than lighten up.
So what we're going to do is a skill roll challenge on using your grandpop's notes in conjunction with your own kind of ideas that you've brought to the table and that you've been working on in the evenings during your travels. Yeah. Effectively, we're going to determine whether or not it takes until lunchtime or whether or not it takes all day. I need you to roll an Arcana check with advantage as you get the help of your grandpops and your father. As they get out, you in the next few minutes, they get out all reams of paper. Some of them are plain. The quality of the ink that they procure is really fine and nice. They effectively provide you with copying materials equivalent to the spell level that you require to copy into your spell book and to experiment with designing your own spells. And in so doing, the Ice Storm scroll counts as payment because of its extraordinarily high value for effectively what this is for Ella, a day of study. What's the Arcana roll?
I had the number in my head. Hang on. Why can I not count? Hang on. Fingers. 13.
13. Slow going to begin with. Actually, a number of pieces of paper as they're kind of bringing ideas to you, and they're showing you particular glyphs of the summoning of fire, in particular with the kind of scalding spark effect, kind of combining the element of a firebolt projectile with the sparks of a prestidigitation, because you want to add some kind of flair to the magic that you want to go for, and what your grandpops has been working on as well. It's tough to get right, and it's actually noon comes and noon goes. Roll again with advantage. Remember, it's with advantage, so you can roll twice and take the higher of the two rolls.
Yeah, I did. Same
13.
number, 13 again.
Okay, so effectively, it's coming to like the mid-afternoon, and you're making progress. It looks like it's kind of a bit higgledy-piggledy, and the chaotic nature of the kind of brainstorming and studying session is producing actually two separate sort of piles of notes for two separate spells, and both of them are kind of getting there-ish. I'd like you to roll one more time with advantage. Arcana.
Come on, dice, don't let me down. Yes! 24!
that'll do. You complete and copy into your spell book after blowing a hole in the side of this shack with a bursting, sparky explosion that punches through the kind of corrugated iron sort of like edge of this, almost like think of it like, you know, I don't know if you've read about Formula One history, but guys used to make Formula One cars in their sheds. It's that kind of vibe. You blow a hole in the side from the experimenting. Your grandpa's eyes raise. He goes, "No, we're getting somewhere," and progress becomes accelerating, and you produce 2 spells. We have discussed them previously, and the rest of your party are going to have to learn about them when you use them in combat. You look outside and it's dark.
Oh crap.
So earlier on in the day, Kylan, Eirys and Kyro, you figure Kylan, the best place to inquire is at the guardhouse. And there they direct you to where Kylan is currently located, which is a house on the top of the hill, a little bit further out from the center of town. So you have center of town, you have guardhouse, and then further out from that, at the top of a hill, this building that they use to accommodate troops and kind of high-ranking visitors, I guess. And you figure it makes sense for someone like Kylan, who he did hold quite serious rank in the Uthalian army while he was part of the army. He still had his armor. He had his armor on when he teleported through and visited the guardhouse. So he has effectively secured him and Maureen and Theo Jr. quite a nice place to stay. So a couple of guards meet you there. To save a bit of time, you wrangle your way through and are escorted up to the top of the hill, where you see, surrounded by a rather interesting... It's like a garden has been clearly tended here, but a long time ago, and it's become kind of a little bit neglected. Also, in combination with the kind of wintry conditions here, it's like there's a couple of patches of holly bushes here and there around the outside of the building. The front door, the guard that's escorting you on the front. Maureen answers, kind of looks and goes, "Oh, good. It's good to see you and hear from you. Would you like to come in?"
Mm-hmm.
Looks at the guards. "Thank you so much. You can go about your business." Kind of look at each other. "All right. Well, have a good day." And they retreat back to the barracks.
Who's here?
So it's Maureen that's greeting you, and you know that Theo Jr., Maureen's son, is here, and Kylan has been staying here as well.
And of us, it's me and...
It's you and Kyro. It's just the two of you.
Just us two. Okay, cool. And did you say Kylan was there?
You don't immediately see him, but you've been told that he's in the house.
Can I speak to Kylan?
Of course. Yeah, come in. Kind of holds the door open a bit wider and turns and moves further in. Approaches... I'm trying to remember the visual. Arby, help me out here. Was the teleportation scroll in the basement, or was it...
It's on ground level.
It's on the ground level. She goes into an adjacent door on the other side of like a entry sort of hallway / thoroughfare. And after a few moments, Kylan comes out. He has fairly decent quality tunic of a kind of reddish with a gold embroider sort of pattern around the kind of neckline. A few buttons towards the base, a couple of which are undone, implying that he might have been on his hands and knees. Kind of comes through just like, "Oh, well, it's good to... Ah, fantastic. Welcome. I hope you guys are doing well."
You're looking... Anyway, don't worry about the a high priest anymore. We've got all the information we need about him.
Is that so?
And I update him on everything.
All
as
right.
long as nobody's around other than Maureen and Theo.
May want to worry about him insofar as that he would probably sell you out to the syndicate.
Huh?
Who?
Cheryl, I mean.
So you're telling me that he believes that you are part of the syndicate?
For now. We're going to get what we need from him and then maybe break the good news to him.
That's a dangerous game, Eirys.
I play dangerous games. On that note...
We don't have to tell him.
On that note, we've had a visit from some old allies of ours. The ones from the temple that I mentioned before.
Do you mean the Drow and the Dragonborn who came jumping out of a portal in that room?
I make fun friends these days, yes. They could be a good ticket to somewhere as safe as you'll get from the syndicate. You may wish to speak to them before you leave.
I mean,
the syndicate will be here at some point.
I would imagine that you have probably guaranteed that. Maybe we should be swift in our movements then. Perhaps this place, although will probably be all right for the time being, presuming that I believe you passed on to me that you were looking for protection from the effects of scrying. Is that true?
Yes, I don't know much about it, but potentially they could have been tracking me that way. But we know they have eyes and ears everywhere, and I'm sure some of their whisperers will end up in Farrenloth, and if they see you, they could feed it back. Or me, or any of us.
You say that these friends of yours can guarantee protection. What do you mean? Where do they come from?
Oh, they can't guarantee protection, but they... Wait, oh, you don't mean the temple.
They come from the temple...
The Dragonborn and Drow come from the temple. If you meant the protection we were seeking to stay out of the sight of the syndicate?
I was referring to where your friends had come from. And if the temple... like at the top of the mountains?
That one, yes. I told you about it before.
Yeah.
Between Shrine and Trinstone.
Yeah. My goodness. In some ways that's closer, but in other ways that is the top of a mountain.
Apart from by Griffin, it would be a challenge to get there. Plus, there's no... The only way to gain entry appears to be by magical means, mostly controlled by those on the inside. I'm not sure if it can be opened from the outside. It's about as safe as I imagine you'll get.
Well, if that's the case, then maybe it's worth considering. Top of the mountain, it'll be cold.
And you will have... Bring something for headaches. There are some interesting characters up there. That might be enough to scare off the syndicate, to be honest.
If Slip Triflesworthy is the kind of individual you're talking about, I'll be fine, but I have a feeling you're talking about someone else.
There's a gnome wizard. He's not very good.
The two came through here. There's one who's worse than them.
The Dragonborn was... I mean, the Drow... I actually feel quite sorry for the Drow. Came through apologizing profusely. The Dragonborn was strutting around as if he owned a place. Talked about how it was his house. I didn't really understand.
That also reminds me, there's also a bunch of gnoll puppies that they're raising. It's going to be a handful.
You're suggesting that we move into a temple occupied by eccentric Dragonborn, dangerous gnome wizards, and gnolls?
The syndicate would never guess.
Exactly. They would assume you must be mad to go into a place like that.
Yes, I would be. You'll have to give me time to process what you're suggesting. If it's safe, then I suppose it's safe. Maureen kind of steps in. I
It's safe.
have
adjacent.
misgivings, and I think it's safe for me to vocalize them at this point. I mean, no pups? Like the ravenous beasts, the ones that we heard were attacking Trinstone.
Oh, Kyro takes out the picture that Vi drew him. One of them drew this of me.
Huh?
It looks like a child's drawing of
Persuasion with advantage.
Me?
Yeah. Persuasion to advantage.
You show that they
to
do
attempt...
normal kid things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you're challenging a lot of preconceptions about what gnolls are. Yeah? And
I just wanted to show off this great piece of art I have. Persuasion. Okay. Oh, that's not the worst. Wait, that's perception. Never mind.
Persuasion is charisma. Yeah.
There it is. Okay. A 13.
13. She kind of looks at it and narrows her eyes. A letter from a relative, maybe? You're telling me that a gnoll baby drew this?
Well, a kid, yeah. A child.
She's her eyes
They
are
weren't
narrowed,
infant,
and
I don't think they could walk.
you don't get the sense
What,
that
she
she's
doesn't believe
really.
you?
Yeah, you don't get the sense that she's really buying it. Because it's a big
Listen,
deal.
Just tell her to talk to Jorl. He's good at this.
No, he's just gonna put his art back.
Yeah, you get the sense that gnolls are like demons to regular people, right? They're monsters who pillage and destroy and kill.
So are Drow. Anyway.
Well, yeah, exactly. But
It's fine.
Yeah,
a lot
but
of
you're here talking to her.
Yeah, it's fine.
a lot of cultural preconceptions are being challenged in what you're talking about, and it's she's not necessarily completely closed to it, but she's just struggling to conceive as to how it would be possible.
If any of them attack you, I'm sure Kylan could do something about it.
You can take your chance with some gnoll puppies, or you can take your chance with the syndicate who are hunting you. I'm just saying.
It's
To be honest, if there's an accident and you have to kill them all, I don't care. Like, just putting that out there.
I mean, if they do try and attack, say, Maureen or Theo, I probably would, yes. But
yes, you should.
Let us just have a while to think about your proposition, all right? I'm keen to stay safe and to keep these two safe. I'd probably have to find Slip, though. He never came with us to the house.
Slipped away?
I mean, now that you mention it, yes, I suppose he kind of did.
Where is he? Huh?
Doesn't say. Just that he never came back to the house. He isn't with them here.
Some of our folk can send weird messages to people in their head. Maybe one of them could get hold of somebody. Get hold of Slip. And also, if you want to go and see what the temple is like before you decide, and then if you don't like it, I'm sure they can magic you back.
I mean, I'm assuming that circle in the next room is like a gateway that they can use.
Trinstone's missing their captain, by the way.
Trinstone's missing their captain. Are you talking about...
Anya, yes. The one we were attempting to
rescue. I was caught up with the situation in Trine. Yeah, I'm aware of that.
So if you hate the temple, maybe you could head there.
That might be less safe.
Yes.
Is it less safe than here? I don't know.
It's closer to Trine, and they've been there before, and they probably might be curious as to what happens with Anya missing. I have no idea why
That's
they
true. It's
pinpointed
probably going to be
Trinstone.
watched. Well, I imagine that they were pinpointing Anya, but it's imagination.
Who knows? Perhaps questions for another time. Do you have a course of action for your information that you obtained from Cheryl? You gave me the impression that you found a map.
Yes, and we're going to take care of the group in the woods first, and then we're going to go and find this castle. Keep thing. The guy might be a vampire, we're not sure. if vampires exist.
I mean, they do exist.
I've never met one.
I've never heard of any apart from fairy tales. I wish you all the best. I mean, I'm not really up to speed with the situation, but I knew that there is, from what I picked up at the guardhouse, there is some degree of cooperation between the temple and the guard. They are aware that there is some kind of tension there, and that Cheryl was not willing to discuss it. So this stuff that you're talking to me about with a red robe wearing cult, that would certainly be something that Cheryl would probably want to hide if he wanted the reputation of the temple to stay intact.
Just don't trust Cheryl, he's a piece of shit.
He will sell you out.
He will.
Worth remembering. What a time to come out of retirement. Do you mind, how much of this are you comfortable with me passing on to the guard?
The Cheryl thing, probably, right?
Maybe wait until we've come back and got our money.
You just make sure that you come back.
When do I not?
Is there anything else I can do to help you?
No, that was all from me.
Kyro?
What? Oh, sure. Yeah, it was great seeing you again.
Oh, well, you too. I hope that you keep Eirys safe. She doesn't believe it, but there are people who care about her. Anyway.
See you later, don't die.
Yep, you too. Maureen, the door. She kind of folds her arms and looks at him just like, I'll get the door. Kind of just like,
Maureen, the door.
Oh my god.
Irritating, man.
the sound of footsteps from upstairs kind of echoes down as you guys step out of the front door, and as it closes behind you, you hear a teenage voice. Who was that, Mum? Cool. So you guys are done with
that went
Kylo?
well.
Yep.
I was thinking of getting a health potion somewhere.
Okay. Nuru and Brüz, you are at the temple.
Okay.
Do you mind if I just move on and figure this out? And then we'll
course.
probably take a break and then we'll go cultist hunting. Oh, people have moved around. No,
No, I'm
good.
exactly where I was always the
Sorry,
whole time.
there was just a bit of a blip on the camera. Cool. So we're in the temple, holy water. Nuru and Brüz, you open the doors to the temple through the main entryway as you come, and one face that you recognise is the face of Laura. Again, a face that Brüz, you remember very positively and unfavourably, pottering around, seeming to do. I think it's a mopping. Yeah, she's mopping at the front as you go to the front of the sort of central sort of worship space and the altar. Yeah.
Brüz walks up and as he moves through, uses control water to just sort of like mop any water that's up ahead of him up towards her bucket, and then just kind of just scoops it all into the bucket for her. Just like, hello, Laura. How are you today?
Oh, hi. That was nice.
Well, I didn't want to slip. Hooves are very tricky with polished surfaces, I'll have you know.
Yeah, I wouldn't want you to slip over. Is there anything I can do to help you?
Oh, well, we were thinking that perhaps the temple here may have a supply of holy water we might be able to get a little bit of. Save us having to
I mean,
expend time and energy to make some ourselves. It's just a query, really, you know.
No, it's fine. Just bear with me, okay? She kind of like grabs the bucket and the mop and moves it to the wall, the mop leaning against, and she goes into the chamber towards where the library is. A couple of minutes pass, and then she returns with the woman that you recognize as the chief librarian, who met you as you arrived originally into the temple, and you've seen a couple of times around since. Nurna, her name, she kind of comes up, goes, "Ah, well, our Tiefling and Tabaxi friend, welcome back."
Brüz, and this is Nuru.
Brüz and Nuru. I'm Chief Librarian
Yes.
Nurna, just to re-establish. Welcome back to the temple. I'm being told that you're inquiring as to the acquisition of holy water. Is that right?
Yeah.
I wondered.
Where is it and how much is it?
If you'd be willing to provide a generous donation to the tithing of the temple to a.
Oh yeah, sure.
Well,
I got you.
It's made with powdered silver and some ritual focus, some meditative prayer and trancing, and the power of Helm infuses itself on the water. It is known to be used in the blessing of marriages. It's been known to be used in the dedication of newborn babes. What would you be seeking to use it for? Is there a familial, perhaps tribal ceremony that you require it for, or...?
Nothing specific as yet. More a cautionary application of access.
Yeah.
Let's just say I could make it myself, but I wondered whilst I was nearby if there was, just some about.
Well, we'd be able to offer you a flask for 50 gold pieces a flask to account for the cost of the silver. And the cost and the
and Nuru's like
and the time, obviously, and the ceremonial kind of process of bringing it to be.
Yes,
it is useful in terms of its historical applications. Holy water used to be a weapon against the undead, but as we know, haven't been undead around here for hundreds of years. So
I don't tend to be troubled by the undead, to be perfectly honest. They are often interesting conversational partners, I do add, as well.
And Nuru's starting to, she's starting to think, oh, wait, we don't know who's involved in the cult. It could be anyone. We should be careful.
Roll an insight on Nurna.
Yeah, I guess she's gonna, she'll roll her insight, and her insight is a dirty 20.
Just bear with me. I'm just replying to Ruben on Twitch. Hope you're enjoying the stream. You get the sense that Nurna is actually offering a price that is that you're figuring that it's about double the price of the actual components required to make the thing. So she's kind of running you for a markup. Which is obviously a little bit dishonest of her.
I don't know if she's secretly involved or whatever, but at least
in answer to that, you get the sense that her interest here is potentially selling just like a holy trinket to some passing adventurers for perhaps a price that's a little bit higher than it might actually be worth. But in terms of whether or not she's up in with a cultist, you don't get that vibe from her. No.
But, she could... It's probably better to not give her the truth because she might accidentally pass this knowledge to someone else who could be in the cult, as far as Nuru is concerned. So Nuru comes up with a clever lie, and she's like...
Oh, no.
She's like, well, I mean, we don't have quite that much. Are you sure? Because, it's for my wedding, and...
Oh, really? Oh, really? She kind of points between
Bruce's eyes open so wide right now and turn to Nuru. Wedding, you say?
Oh,
she's like, yeah. I'm sorry it came out like this. But yeah, that's what it's for.
So it's not. It kind of looks at Brüz, looks back. Not your two wedding.
Oh no.
Okay.
No, I'm officiating. We're trying to keep it on the low down.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
You see, her suitor is a very well-to-do sort. And
as you can sort of tell with me, I'm kind of a, I'm just a simple country girl.
she's fabulous, isn't she?
Well, of course, but
Narrows her eyes.
Can't really convince his mom of that.
So a secret wedding. Is it one of your traveling companions by any chance?
Well,
Yep.
that would be going to... And Bruce's eyes open wider again as he looks over
Nuru's
to
just
Nuru.
yes-anding her, so...
Make a deception check with advantage.
Okay.
Because Brüz is freaking...
Well, that first roll wasn't so great, so... Okay,
You have advantage though.
I rolled twice and both were 5.
Yeah.
So with my skill, it is
abysmal.
Hold on, where is my deception?
It's nothing. It's a 5.
It's
dude.
like, huh?
It's a 5.
Where's my deception at?
It's 0. You have none.
It's 5.
It's 0 deception.
She's lying. She's lying. And she's lying.
Narrows her eyes and says,
Obvious that she's lying.
well,
Maybe because her tail is like just really spiky and
yeah, just standing on end, and yeah, your body language just becomes very stiff and jerky, and your eyes are like flitting left and right. She kind of narrows her eyes as you're embellishing the story. She says, well, regardless of the purpose for the water, it's still on the table for 50 gold pieces a flask. You get the sense that she doesn't believe you, but she still wants to sell you something, just to get some money for the temple.
Well, okay. Well, Nuru doesn't have 50 gold pieces, so...
Brüz gently pats Nuru on the shoulder, smiles, turns back to, is it Nalu? Nala? Nuru? No. Nurna.
Yeah.
Turns back to Nurna and goes, I do apologize. Nuru has become rather excited of some of the news she's gotten recently, and she's been making up some stories. We'll be fine for the holy water for now. I don't wish to take up any more of your time.
Well, all right. If you change your mind, it's here. The
We'll
blessing.
be sure to let you know, indeed.
All right.
Well, I wasn't lying about not having 50 gold pieces.
You see her turn around. She indicates towards another acolyte, and as you walk away, your passive perception 14 is enough to hear. Find some silver to grind. We might need to make some holy water. And she walks away.
Brüz turns to Laura and just says quietly, I appreciate your assistance. Hopefully our escapades here don't get you in any trouble.
I mean, I'm well behaved. I've got nothing to worry about.
Indeed you are, and you do certainly not. Good day, see you soon. And he collects Nuru and starts walking just away from Laura, but sort of like just over a side somewhere, not out.
Okay.
Gets Nuru kind of to a quiet spot, leans over close and goes, do you ever lie successfully, Nuru?
Not usually, no.
No.
I try not to, but...
Well, maybe the best part of trying not to might also include trying not to not lie when lying could be important.
What?
When in the
trying to
future...
calculate all those double negatives.
Yes, yeah. In the future, if you think you want to lie about something, just don't say anything.
Okay, got it. Leave it to the actually good liars. Got it.
Well, You'll find, and he puts his arm around her shoulder as he walks sort of back towards like the main entry, but not directly back to Laura. He goes, you'll find that sometimes being quiet and aside can help a lie much better than another lie along with it.
Okay, so let them come to their own wrong conclusions. That's what you mean?
Exactly. You don't need to lie. You just don't tell them the truth.
That's smart. I'll keep that in mind.
Very good. Now, tell me, Nuru, what is the fastest creature you can become?
The fastest? Well, hold on. Well, that depends. How big am I allowed to be?
Well, you can be as big as you like, as long as you're fast and hard to catch.
Well, I mean, if I had to pick something, horses are probably the fastest thing I can be right now. But horses are a little bit conspicuous.
They are conspicuous, yes, especially indoors.
If if I wanted to be something inconspicuous and also fast, then I'd probably choose something like a weasel. Because they're small and perceptive and better at sneaking around, but they can run as fast as a person.
Indeed. And where do you think a weasel could get to in a place like this without being seen?
Probably a lot of places.
Well, what say you and I become weasels somewhere, and then investigate this building the way only two clever, quiet weasels can?
Sounds good to me.
Fabulous. And then Brüz then sort of like grabs Nuru's like arm around Nuru's shoulder again and starts walking sort of back out towards the entry.
Yeah.
Looking for like a spot aside the entry somewhere to potentially before changing. Is there anywhere that's sort of like in this sort of main foyer that is like sort of behind a plant, like Clark Kent the crap out of this?
I mean, you could potentially try and sneak behind any one of the big statues that are regularly spaced on the left and the right in little alcoves. The statues are so large that you might be able to slide behind when you thought you weren't being watched by anybody.
Yep.
So how like this is still like late morning?
Yeah, we'll say that.
Late morning. So is the foyer particularly busy at the moment?
Not massively. A couple of patrons have come in since you have, and one has left. That was in there when you arrived.
On the far side of the foyer, Brüz is going to lead Nuru towards one of these statues that's sort of like the quietest one of the ones that are out.
Yeah.
And then just before we get to it, Brüz is just going to sort of quietly whisper to Nuru to use the statue as cover when he gives the note, and then he's going to use thaumaturgy to make the sound of a crashing vase in a corridor nearby, like on the other side of.
What's the range of thaumaturgy?
Well, that's a good question. I'll check.
Hang on.
30 feet.
30 feet. So yeah, you can project a sound to the other side of this main chamber. So there's an alcove. Yeah. You've gone to as you walk into the temple, you've gone to the left-hand side into an alcove on the left. You can project it to the alcove on the right, and you actually look up and down it. That will echo around actually quite nicely. However, it would direct attention towards where you are, just in a slightly different direction. So I'll let you try it. So
okay.
As you do, I'll say that as you do, you can both roll stealth, and each of you can roll with advantage because of the distraction that is created. All right?
Okay.
Yes.
So you cast the thaumaturgy spell, and there's this tremendous sound of pottery breaking into millions of pieces that echoes up and around when the alcove containing a statue directly opposite yours. This one, a great sort of silver draconic figure. And as it echoes around, there's a sound of several gasps and a bunch of people turning around, looking behind them and seeing the alcove opposite you. At the same time, you guys dive behind the statue that you're next to. What are your stealth rolls?
22.
And
so it was, thank God for the advantage, because the first roll was a 2 -1. The second roll was a 17 -1.
So 22 and 16. That averages out as 38 halved is 19. That'll do it. You slide in beside Brüz. This is quite a squeeze for you, but you shuffle through just about. You get the sense that if you had not had that distraction there, you probably would have been seen, but people are looking up towards the direction of the echoing around the kind of ceiling of this large sort of chapel-like temple. They're looking up. Because they're looking upwards, they don't see you kind of sneaking behind the statue where you guys are now hidden.
And I'm just double checking because I want to know whether or not if I cast, it's a concentration, and can I carry a concentration spell into wild shape? I don't think I can.
Well, if you're wild
No,
shaping,
you can.
if you're wild shaping into an animal, you need to.
Yeah.
The animal has to be able to hold concentration, otherwise you wouldn't be able to maintain the wild shape. So
yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Well, you keep your mental stats when you're the animal, though.
Yeah, when you're a druid.
Yep.
They are able to maintain their concentration, yes. They just can't cast new spells.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to cast any spells because, or at least you wouldn't be able to cast any concentration spells because you have concentration on the wild shape.
Wild shape concentration.
Oh wait.
No.
Sorry.
No, wild shape's not a
No,
spell.
wild shape just happens.
I'm thinking about polymorph. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so Brüz
You
is
can
going
maintain
to
a concentration spell.
Yeah, Brüz is going to cast Pass Without Trace, and then Wild Shape into a weasel.
Okay.
Nice.
And then that way the two of us will have
plus 10 on
they
yourself.
are weasels together. It's very cute.
Yeah. So Brüz has turned into a very, very dark purple weasel.
Mm-hmm.
And Nuru's
sort of
just,
like that
brown.
midnight purple kind of color.
Yeah.
Nuru is brown with a lighter belly and basically the same pattern that she has for pretty much everything she turns into.
All right.
And then we're going
and they're both adorable.
So if you guys are going to try and explore the temple, you can roll stealth and add 10 to the check that you make once you've added your skill, because you have Pass Without a Trace.
Oh yeah, weasels have a +6 to stealth, so
you're rolling a d20 and adding 16. That's a number.
What? 16 plus 16.
32 it is.
32.
Nuru?
Well, I rolled a 5. Luckily, weasels are very small and...
So you get 21 in total. A 32 and a 21. You know
so
what? That'll
you
do
just
it.
see
a
couple of weasels. One's very stealthy and the other one trips and tumbles, but is still stealthy anyway.
Exactly. Well, no, the Pass Without a Trace basically means that as you kind of scritch across the kind of stone tablet sort of flooring of the temple,
silently tumbles.
The movement just is completely masked.
Silently, adorably tumbles.
As you approach the front, you get the sense that as you're going underneath each of the rows of pews, as you approach the altar at the front, there's a wing on the left. There's a wing on the right. Which way do you go?
Left, always left.
Left. Okay, so you enter the left-hand side and into an adjacent chamber. You can see on the right-hand side a sweeping staircase that goes up into the second story. You recognise this, Brüz, as the way you came down after your interrogation of Cheryl yesterday.
good thing about being two druids is that we can understand animals as we squeak to each other.
That's right.
And Brüz squeaks to Nuru to suggest that we'd been upstairs yesterday. Let's do a quick check down here before going back up.
Okay, sounds good.
Roll a tiny baby weasel investigation check each.
Can you say natural 20?
I can. What?
And that's a +3 for Brüz's investigation. I'm fairly sure that
15.
It doesn't.
Nat 20 for 23 means that you sweep around and you quickly realize that these are all, or at least mostly, rooms, like bedrooms, holdings for daily maintenance. So there's a door at the back that leads to an outhouse, and there's some washrooms with regularly replaced sort of pails of hot water. There's bedrooms every few feet on the left and on the right. Some of them are bunks, some of them are individual rooms for those who are higher up in the order. By the time you circle around, you've determined these are just rooms, eating spaces. This wing is living space.
So
Where
Brüz
would be a
squeaks
good place
again
to go?
and heads for the stairs.
I'll say that with the 20 that you've rolled, you twig that all of the spaces you looked up yesterday all seem to be living space. These all on the ground floor seem to be living space. This wing would be living space.
So now it's the other left.
You can go to the right-hand side of the main temple where the other wing is, or you could head outside. It's up to you.
It's gonna turn to Nuru and ask in squeaks, should we get some sun, or should we go deeper?
I feel like most of the secret stuff's gonna be indoors, wouldn't it?
Brüz nods and kind of wants to have a little quick sort of check around towards. So assuming that the temple is reasonably church-like, the assumption that there would be an altar at the front of the main sort of session room. Is there a sermon in progress at the moment?
You kind of reapproach the front door, the door of the wing that you're in, into the main chamber. And as you kind of glance underneath the crack at the base of the door, poking your little weasel head through, you do, in fact, see none other than High Priest Cheryl Navaste in the midst, standing on the lectern on the left-hand side, relatively close to where you are, actually, speaking over the handful of guests. And so, may the light of Helm protect you. May the shield that grants us all strength be with you and remain with you always. And may his healing light bring peace and prosperity to Farenloth and the Euphalian Empire. He continues and begins reading from a tome and speaking in a fairly dry manner, attempting to relate the kind of teachings of Helm to real life using some kind of analogy that's quite out of sync with what these people really live through.
Nuru is so tempted to prank this guy.
Brüz is equally tempted to prank this guy.
I prank him so bad.
Yeah, and Brüz, there's this whole squeaking conversation happening between the two of them as Brüz fights against his baser instincts to mess with people who are stuck up or otherwise perceived to be no fun at all. But sort of tries to calm Nuru and says, we will search first and we will prank after.
Okay.
So if you want to sneak across where he's currently preaching, that's actually a pretty tricky prospect because he's preaching. People are looking up towards him. The lectern is actually...
We should wait until they're praying.
Okay. How long does Wild Shape last?
an hour at a time, as does Pass Without a Trace.
You will be under a
that
bit of
goes
time
up.
pressure once that
The prayer
Wow.
I
starts.
once
think
the
it does
prayer starts.
increase with your druid level, but I'm not sure.
I mean,
mine-
right now it's an hour.
Okay. So yeah, it's probably about 20 minutes or so before he invites the kind of congregation to stand and to bask in the protection of Helm, and that he encourages people to close their eyes. Some do, some don't. If there's going to be a chance, now is as good as any. You glimpse and you can see Cheryl at the front, just with his hands up and his eyes closed, in a serious expression on his face.
Like, what's the worst that could happen? We cause some chaos in his prayer time.
No, Brüz says to Nuru,
Yeah.
like as their heads go down, says, "Run, but run across." Like, is there like a row of parishioners all in bowed heads that a weasel could kind of bounce across the top of from one side to the other?
I would just go under their feet.
Yeah.
Brüz has a different idea of things at the moment, but there is.
Nuru's just gonna go under their feet because that's less likely to get everyone's attention.
Yeah. So
Right.
that if that's what Nuru's going to do, what are you going to do, Brüz?
Brüz is going to take the run down sort of at the same time, just make it across. He was contemplating mischief and mayhem and has allowed Nuru's calmer head to dissuade him from such mischief just yet.
So I would like you guys to roll a stealth check each. Your Pass Without Trace is still active, so it is still plus 16. Crack on.
Would using my feline agility to go very, very fast across this area
That would
help?
require you to be a feline.
Well,
No, it
I
doesn't.
have that ability no matter what form I'm in.
Is that
Yeah.
true?
It's like my racial
Yeah,
ability.
we discussed this a little while for a bit
Yeah,
last time it
listen.
happened.
Oh, okay.
It's one of the very good things about being a Tabaxi Druid.
I mean, you might be able to argue with swim or fly speed, but not walking speed.
All right.
definitely
So
has the
yeah,
walking speed.
you just propel yourself across. That would make you move
still gotta
very,
be
very
stealthy,
quickly
though.
though. That would make you move so quickly that it would probably be eye catching. What's a weasel's regular movement speed?
30.
40.
40, is it?
No, it's
40, huh?
it's 30. I looked.
It's 30. If you're dashing, if you're gonna just, but if you're dashing, you're not gonna be
Dashing
going
would be-
stealthy.
And then if I was using the agility on top of it, it would be like 120.
Okay, so
Maybe a bit fast, considering the old man scurrying with you.
roll.
Oh well, I guess I could stay, but I'd stick with him. 'Cause
If you effectively
he's got the stealth zone, so
exactly.
Yeah.
If you just keep at a relatively moderate pace, you're sneaking across without moving too quickly. You're much less likely to attract attention because, as you know,
Okay.
things moving quickly are really easy to see. Like you're effectively if you go quickly, you're going to be imposing disadvantage on the stealth check.
okay.
Yeah, and Brüz got 17 for a 33.
I will keep that in the quiver in case I need to make a swift exit.
Absolutely,
Yes.
that's a great idea. What's the stealth roll?
And it does. One of the drawbacks of feline agility
Stealth roll,
is
Deanna.
that it is a sprint,
Deanna.
and afterwards I have to rest.
Okay. What's the stealth roll?
Oh, right. Okay. It is plus 16. That's a dirty 20.
Oh, so you rolled a 4.
Yeah.
Holy heck. Okay. So yeah, Brüz, I guess you're going just straight across the front. Like there's a step that leads up to the altar and you just kind of put yourself right at the edge of the step and just go across. At the same time, Nuru, you jump onto the between the first and second row of pews, between the feet of the parishioners. And as you do so, you get past 1, fine, 2, fine, 3, fine. The fourth is looking straight down and his eyes are open and he sees a little before and he looks up and kind of glances again and by the time you guys have gotten across the first row of pews and into the second row of pews, he's kind of looking around, and what's he going to do? Okay, he looks to the left and looks to the right, to the parishioners around him, up to where the high priest is. He's spotted you. He's seen that you're going across, and he just puts his head down and he carries on. He doesn't want to break.
That was weird.
He doesn't want to break the penitence of
church.
He doesn't want to break the holy prayerful atmosphere of the church, even though he's seen someone little thing.
Even though he's just seen a random weasel.
Yeah, I've got to wrangle a stealth check of 20 somehow. I mean, just went back to what he was doing. He might mention it after the service.
There's a weasel.
He might mention it after the service, but by then you guys have already gone. So you guys get across to the right hand side, the right hand wing, go through the that corridor's empty, and you go forward a few dozen feet, and on the left-hand side, there's the entrance to the library. The door on the right-hand side, though, is a place of the temple you haven't been to yet.
Okay.
Brüz sort of checks before crossing the corridor, and then notions and squeaks to Nuru, and they hightail it across to the other side where they have not been or seen.
We're going to assume a weasel can squeeze underneath like a door, right?
Yeah, they're pretty good at that.
You get underneath the door.
Noodly.
As you kind of rustle your way through, Brüz particularly, Nuru gets through without much issue. Brüz, a little bit more podgy, just squeezing yourself through. And as you do, there's a slight budge of the door, and as you do, you see that there's evidence that it's locked.
Huh.
It's another narrow corridor that leads into two chambers. The first door of which is immediately ahead of you, and the second on the right-hand side, a little bit further down. There's a door on the left. It has a vibe of either like a prison or some kind of vault.
Brüz is
we're somewhere we're not supposed to be.
And Brüz squeaks back with an excited amount of glee, going, "We're exactly where we need to be."
Yeah.
And basically scurries towards the last door. So
so you go right down, and then it's on the other side of
the wants to peek under doors if she can.
Now, these doors are different from the doors you've come across so far. So far, they've been they've been decorated. They've that mosaic sort of style of tiles on the walls and in the glass are reflected in the design of the doors. Wooden kind of in their construction, and with gaps at the bottom. These ones seem more reinforced, as in, they're either.
They don't want people peeking under.
They don't want people getting in, let alone peeking under. They're wooden, but they appear to be reinforced, and there's a large kind of lock mechanism at the handles of each. It seems to be pretty tight.
Both doors are appear to be heavily locked and fortified.
Yes.
Yeah, and neither of which show any sort of gap to peer under.
Does it
you can
look
try.
like people frequent this area very much?
No. This there's a sense of like well-traveledness around the corridors that you've been going around so far. This one less so, considerably. Less feeling of wear and tear on the stones underneath your little weasel feet.
Brüz being reasonably aware that the his wild shape is probably not going to be up for too much longer.
Probably in the region of 5 minutes at this point.
And Nuru's like, "Do you think we're safe to change back here?"
Well, can't you? Do you stay? You don't stay in wild shape longer. You can just choose higher creatures, can't you?
No, yeah.
Yeah. Brüz turns to Nuru and squeaks to ask. Well, actually, with the gap under the door, is it the sort of?
It's the kind of thing that you can roll for it.
Well, I was just going to ask the question: is it a gap that an insect would travel under, or is it looking like it's deliberately made to prevent anything of any natural size making its way under?
I think the DC for the roll would get easier if you were an insect.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Brüz
What's
says
the
to
smallest thing you can be?
I was thinking a millipede or a spider. Let me just double check my thingies here, because
A harmless little flea.
And
Well, I'm
then
just
you'll
trying to
put that
remember if
flea
I
into
have-
a box, and then put that box inside of another box, and then mail that box to myself.
Okay.
Yeah, because the thing is that we need to be able to get out in the next hour, because I can only do this twice.
Yeah.
So just before it knocks out, is there anything visible in the corridor and space that might appear to be like a statue or a bust, something that might be suspiciously like a hidden viewing implement at the end of a corridor? Nothing quite so glaringly obvious.
Make an investigation check.
Brüz reads a lot of spy books. You say investigation?
Yep.
Yeah, this is great. That's 19 plus 3, 22.
22. You scour the sides and the edges. There are so what you've got. What the layout of this space is. There's a door that you went through. There's basically nothing on the left-hand side. The corridor stretches to the right-hand side as you step in through the door. Immediately ahead of you, as you step through that door into this smaller corridor, is one reinforced door, and a bit further down the corridor on the right, there is another door. So there are obviously two chambers. Now, upon your first pass as a weasel, you thought, oh, there doesn't appear to be anything in here. But you do see that there's a kind of decorated sort of edging. What's it called? Like when there's edging.
Cornice? Architrave?
You know, when there's a... on the top of a wall, between the wall and the ceiling of a room, there's like just a run of...
Architrave. I think that's the word.
I mean, I didn't know what that was called, so thank you for the education. You see that that's there, and you can see that there's a little bit of a dug space underneath it. That's almost a little bit kind of decorative. Other than that, there really isn't anything in this room apart from the regular large stone slabs that make up the floor. Oh, excuse me.
Right. So up at the ceiling, where the wall meets the ceiling, there appears to be a gap. Is that what you said?
The tiniest little thing. It appears to you to be pretty decorative. You don't imagine anything. It doesn't seem to really pertain to anything that would help you unlock the doors. It was just the result of a high investigation check.
Yeah, that's cool. Just making sure I clearly understood.
Look at it.
I mean, you guys certainly can, but any minute now, your wild shape's gonna run out.
I think Brüz is going to leave his wild shape, and as he comes back into human, into tiefling form, he's going to throw his hood on and turn it as black as it'll go, just sort of dark.
Okay.
Nuru's probably going to pop out of her wild shape too, because it's gonna time out pretty soon anyway, and this would give her access to her spells.
Sure.
And so, as this happens, Brüz just wants to put his ear to each of the doors to see if he can hear anything on the other side of either of them.
Nuru has an idea, maybe.
Okay.
She's going to see if any of the stones are loose enough to, like, tug at or something.
You mean in the wall?
No, just actually on the ground.
Okay, so the slabs that make up the floor.
Yeah.
Make an investigation check. Brüz, make a perception check.
Perception plus 4, 18.
18, okay.
Investigation. That's 11.
11. They just all seem like perfectly standard stone slabs with little lines of cement between them that are designed to support the foundations of the building and provide the residents of this temple walking space. The
And she's like, if I could get at dirt, I could dig under into that room maybe. Because I got mold earth.
Brüz, you put your head.
That works on stone.
It does?
Yeah.
What?
Works on
dirt
stone.
or stone. Okay. So she's just. Oh wait, hold on. She's
I
gonna.
I didn't think that mold earth affected stone.
It says you choose a portion of dirt or stone that you can see within range.
It 100% works on floor.
Okay.
So
it's
a stone floor. She's just gonna like start
chunking it
out.
Okay.
And Minecraft her way into that room.
All right. So yeah. Okay. I'll come to that in a second. As Brüz, you're coming to the doors. You stop at the first one. Listen in. Doesn't hear like there's anything moving around the other side. You go to the second door, and your ear has been again up to it for a few seconds before you hear Nuru reciting an incantation, and then suddenly a huge a sound of stones sliding as it's being moved within this space.
6 seconds.
Actually, mold earth only has somatic components, so she's just earthbending.
Oh, I see. Okay, but the sound of the stone shaking and sliding away and out, and then a cube basically is removed out and slides across the floor. As you've done that, passive perception 14 is probably going to be good enough. You hear the sound of voices, kind of first of all inquisitive outside this doorway, maybe even coming in from the library at the amount of noise that's been made, and then raised voices start echoing down as they recognize the direction that it's coming from. So I'd say by the time that's all happening, you've removed enough stone to dig to beneath the first door. You can jump into that hole that you've made and continue digging.
I'm gonna jump into the hole and then cover up the entrance.
It will.
Okay, I'm going to ask you.
Somewhere.
I'm going to ask you to reflect on the fact that you're going to be left underneath the ground without any air to breathe. You're going to be trapped.
I will leave a small hole for air.
Okay.
If I can.
Question.
And maybe your hands.
What? My hands?
Somatic components.
I can move my hands in the little space I create under there.
Okay.
Effectively, you'll be leaving like a section of rock kind of where above the level that it was at. Obviously, the stone is being broken apart, so the damage will be visible. You'll I'm going to ask you to reflect on whether or not this is something that you want to do, because there may be consequences in terms of attracting the attention of the temple. Maybe there may be consequences in terms of destroying your kind of rapport that you've been building with some of them.
Okay, listen.
Destroyed the floor.
I mean,
okay, here are my options here. I can hide myself.
You can put the rock back.
I can quickly put the rock back, and then they still find a Tabaxi in an area that she's not supposed to be in.
Yeah. Well, Brüz is there with you as well.
Yeah.
I can turn into a different animal and hide.
Yeah.
And that I can.
Would you?
Yeah. What are my options here?
The best thing
I mean, you've done quite
the rock
well.
Back,
yeah.
Turn into a small animal and flee.
Okay, so
if you don't want consequences or minimal ones, that would be the option probably to do.
Yeah, effectively, I think you've summarized what your options are pretty well there. I think that's arguably what's on the table. If you wanted to attempt to hide yourself, I just think it's quite a dangerous prospect to hide yourself underneath potentially tons of stone.
I would be
step forward after hearing the noise and realizing that there's people outside. Brüz walks over, taps Nuru on the shoulder quietly, and goes, just put it back. We'll turn into something small and insect-like, and we'll go under the other door now. Brüz casts Path Without Trace again.
Yeah. Okay, so in that,
then he casts Wild Shape again, and he turns into a millipede. I think I can do a millipede.
Okay, so you do so. Moving the stone back is another few seconds.
A little beetle.
Okay, so millipede and beetle suddenly. The sounds of the raised voices outside come echoing down the outside corridor, and one of the voices you recognize. Get out of my way! Get out of my way! As Cheryl Novasta approaches this door, you hear the clinking of keys. There's a shtong as the stone finally makes its way back into the place where it was. There are visible cracks across its surface. You both cast Wild Shape, and the kind of insects appear in midair and then fall to the ground. You make your way over to the door. I need you to roll stealth checks, adding the skill for the creature that you are, and then an extra 10 for pass without a trace. As you hear,
crit.
Amazing. As you hear the keys being put in the door, whistled around, and kind of the sweeping kind of gait of Cheryl Novasa as he looks around, just like
22 for Brüz.
Okay, you guys just make your way right up to the point of the wall where the ground meets the wall in the doorway of the second door. There's a crack in the base of it. If you want to try and squeeze underneath, it will be a little buggy athletics check to squeeze under that tiny little crack, because it is still very small.
Okay.
But as you've made a stealth check and disappeared kind of in that shadowy place where
I have no idea what the stats of a beetle are.
Just look them up.
Yeah, probably. I mean, you can take a -1 if you want, because obviously beetles aren't very strong. Cool.
What's your Hercules?
I have not a giant stag beetle. I have giant beetle.
No.
Giant beetle is going to be a bit too big. Just a regular
Yeah,
beetle.
I know.
In fact, why don't
Can't
you
find beetle stats?
Just take a -1.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
As you guys dive for the
Probably
underneath,
accurate.
Cheryl kind of opens up, and his attention is on the point of ground that you've moved and that is visibly cracked. He kind of looks in, just like, oh, fuck. Leave me. I'll deal with this myself. Kind of like speaks to whoever's
18.
outside. Okay. You see him swing the door closed behind him and lock the door behind. He kind of steps in, just glances around the space. What was the strength check you made, Brüz? Are you going to say where you are, or are you going to try and squeeze underneath the door?
Looks like 17 plus whatever my plus or minus whatever a centipede gets.
We said -1, so it'll be a
-1.
16.
16.
18 and 16 is pretty good. You're able to squeeze your way underneath. It's a really thick doorway, so you're able to just kind of press yourself against where the space of the door is compressing down on your body, kind of almost forcing you into the floor, concealing you completely. You hear the footsteps, and Cheryl speaking, like muttering to himself, "Oh my God, they found the vault. Well, they're not even willing to accept my money. They're just trying to take it from me. Where are you?" You hear him just get it down on his hands and knees and start crawling around the space. He glances. You see him. You hear as he scuffles around the door. You push your way through, and you squeeze your way into the vault that you're in. And it is a vault. It is a vault of. You look around. A variety of sacks in various places and shelves, but hanging on the opposite wall is the thing that really grabs your eye. It's a mace, but a finely made, spiked, with almost gleaming with a light, radiant energy. You don't need to make an Arcana check. You know from the fact that you're in a vault, which obviously contains a lot of valuable stuff. You're in a temple. It's a really nicely crafted mace. This is it's probably some kind of magical artifact or weapon of some kind. As you guys squeeze your way through and look up and around at the things that surround you, you hear the shuffling of Cheryl on his hands and knees from outside the door as he scruffles around and looks underneath the crack, just peering. He goes, "What are they?" he steps towards the stone and he starts stamping on it with his feet. Where are you? Where are you? And his voice echoes around the corridor that you were just in.
Bashir is handling this rather personally.
We're giving him such a hard time.
Cheryl has had his head fucked with for a little bit already, so this is exactly how I was anticipating he would be should he become perturbed.
Yeah.
So Brüz is going to just sort of like for the moment just get full stock on the things in the room like you've described.
Mm-hmm.
When he looks at the mace on the wall,
mm-hmm.
And he thinks about the mace that he's been carrying around for a while,
yes,
which is a mace of disruption.
Mm-hmm.
Does it look like samey, or does it look a little bit extra shiny?
Your mace you've been carrying around for a while. You know it well. Make an Arcana check.
Okay, Arcana. Ooh.
To try and make a comparison. I dropped one of my D20s. Hate it when that happens.
That could be right. Sorry, what was the...
Spare with me.
Arcana. Plus 3.
Yep.
That's a 19 total.
You get the sense that the weapon that you're carrying has its own... I mean, I don't actually know much about the Mace of Disruption. Is that additional damage to undead?
It's basically, 2d, an additional 2d6 to the undead once sort of lit, and it also emits a bright light for 20 feet.
Okay. Effectively, it's a mace that seems to resonate with a similar radiant energy from what you can see.
Yeah.
It might not be exactly identical to your Mace of Disruption. But you get the sense just from how much you know of your weapon and how it feels when it's ignited. It's got a similar, not a similar design. It's designed separately. It's clearly a different Smith piece.
Yeah.
The nature of the kind of vibe you're getting from it is like, well, it's also, you're also combining the fact that you know that you're in a temple of Helm.
Of Helm, so it's getting pretty hefty. Brüz is like tempted by this, but more at the moment just looking for exits from the room that are not the door.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any windows, vents, or holes otherwise visible to a couple of tiny insects very, very decidedly scurrying around this room looking for
I'll say
other ways?
Yeah. The wall on which the mace is hung is apparently an exterior wall. It's it's an exterior wall to the temple because you can see less kind of like shine to it and more kind of rough coarseness of the brick that's there. You might be able to wriggle your way through with your little bugginess.
All right, so giving us sort of maybe 15 minutes at the end to towards an evacuation of this room in particular.
Yeah.
Just want to spend a bit of time just kind of getting into sort of onto every shelf and in amongst every bag and just investigate, because if there's any there's nothing in here that we can potentially take in this form.
Mm-hmm. But
to know what's in here might mean that we can look through this with a scry or something later. Like just to remember things that are there. So Brüz is going to remember that mace.
Yep.
But unlikely to the fact that neither of us can wild shape out and then back in.
Mm-hmm.
And Brüz is pretty certain that he does not have any other way to make himself small enough to get back under that door.
Yeah, because this is your second and final wild shape, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, we gotta get out of here before it times out, or else we're stuck.
Yeah.
If you wanna join in, that's right. Yeah, if you want to join in, Brüz, Nuru, then you can both roll investigation.
Yes. Okay, and that is a 19.
19. All right.
Well, I'm glad because I got it's investigation.
Mm-hmm.
I got 9.
how much can a bug do to open up these massive sacks? You kind of
You can crawl
mentally.
into 'em.
I mean, I could probably chew a hole in some of them.
Effectively, Nuru is the one who gets that idea first, chews her way into one of the sacks. The sackcloth is actually quite dense, and it's enough to really give some kind of to prevent you from really getting in. Brüz, you kind of try and join in, but you can't get your way into any of the sacks. But Nuru, you get inside, and as you punch that little hole and squeeze your little beetle or millipede or you're a beetle, aren't you?
Beetle.
I'm a beetle.
Squeeze your little beetle head inside. You're immediately met with heavy metallic resistance, and you kind of look up, and from what you can gauge, it's like pieces of silver, like coin, silver coin.
Okay. Okay.
And
do I think this is like the temple's money or his?
I mean, it's in a. I mean, I'm not really able to deduce that necessarily. It's likely that it's the temple's because this is a sub like vault within the temple itself.
Okay, that's fair. Like, we probably should leave the temple's money alone.
Yeah. It's more just taking a quick stock of things in the room. Have we heard Cheryl leave the corridor in this time?
I'll say that actually while this
is
happening.
Or do we still hear him out there?
He kind of rustles around for a while, feeling perturbed, kind of catching his breath and calming down. He opens the other door, and kind of you hear the sound of keys clinking, and the sound of another door unlocking, and he looks inside. You get the sense that he's looking at the other chamber.
I feel like we need to see what's in that room.
I mean, honestly, speaking pragmatically here, there's not really much more time unless you want to be trapped in here in your humanoid forms until tomorrow.
True.
I would suggest that you guys focus on spending actually what's more likely to be about half an hour figuring out a way to squeeze out of the exterior wall of this building.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is where like Brüz was basically just trying to make good on the knowledge that we weren't going to have Cheryl coming in here in the next 20 minutes.
I mean,
or like
what effectively happens to that? The answer to that is what would have realistically happened is Cheryl would have checked in, but because you are bugs and because you are putting yourself around and between the shelves, you are invisible to him. He looks around for a bit, kind of gasps in exasperation, closes the door behind him, and you hear the footsteps echo away. The other exterior door unlocked, shut, and locked behind him.
Okay, because if I was going to say, if in the case that Cheryl came in, and there might have still been 15 minutes left on the proverbial clock.
Yeah.
Brüz was actually keen with his continuing pass without trace to try and hitch a ride on Cheryl's cloak or garments. And would obviously be, like, as soon as Cheryl made an appearance, would have been getting Nuru's attention to follow suit.
Yeah.
Okay. So that we can both,
sure.
tiny little creatures, like, just creep up, and get onto his clothes, but under a layer where we're not, like, visibly, like, some giant bug on the back of his shirt that someone's going to come up and smack. But just like under one of the folds of one of the garments.
That would be a surprise.
I feel like a beetle, would have an easier time than. What are you?
A millipede.
A millipede.
So I don't know if easier is the right word.
We are hanging on. I've had a millipede on a curtain in my old bathroom for quite a while. They can hold on. Don't you worry about them.
I will ask you to roll a stealth check, adding your animal's skill and adding an extra 10 if you would like to attempt to hitch a ride on Cheryl Navaste's boot as he opens the door and swoops in.
Well, I'm going to say it ain't just boot. If we're starting at a leg, we're going for belt line, like up and away from the feet, up and away from anything sort of like easily knocked off. Brüz is going to find somewhere stable and concealed.
I'm concerned. Is millipede like how many inches long is a millipede?
They can be small,
a millipede is probably about like 2 inches long at the biggest one I've ever seen in real life.
Okay,
Is about 2 inches long.
Okay, so it's
smaller one
conceivable.
than
It's conceivable that in the darkness and shadowiness of this interior chamber, with the only real source of light actually emanating from the mace hanging from the wall, you could attempt to do this. So yeah, what's your stealth checks?
It will be.
What is the stealth of a beetle?
Yeah. I think we're getting -1 because of dexterity for some reason. No, that was the strength check.
That was the strength. Yeah. The dexterity,
So what would the...
Let's say +2. Why not?
+2? Okay,
so
well,
plus 12
that
overall,
is...
Because of that was trace.
So +12 is 24.
24?
That's 28.
Oh, crumbs, you went all gaster on me. Did you say 28?
I think I heard 28.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's enough. You guys move across the space. You kind of, as you heard him shuffling across, you moved to the wall immediately to the left and right hand side of the door frame. And as he kind of swings the door open and kind of looks inside, like, you guys crawl up onto the back of his boots. They're big, they're thick. He doesn't feel you crawl on, and onto the back of his legs. By the time that he turns around and closes the door behind him, you have latched on. You are practically weightless. He does not. He doesn't figure out that you're there.
He has absolutely no idea.
He walks to the other side of the chamber, unlocks the outer door, and back into the main corridor that leads into the library and the main kind of thoroughfare. He actually turns right instead of left, going back towards the main sort of temple chamber that you entered through. He turns right and goes to the door at the end of the corridor. There's light kind of shining through the crack there, which suggests that it leads to outside. Are you going to hang on?
How much time have we got?
I mean, the wild shape, by this point, you said that you weren't going to stay in there for another half hour, so there's probably about half an hour to go.
Okay, so I think we'll hang on and go for the ride to see where he goes to next.
He flings the door
and
open.
Then in the meantime, just be keeping eyes open for places that, if need be, we might be able to bail off to move away. So just keeping eyes wide for advantageous.
I'll describe what's going on around, and you tell me when you want to jump off. Okay. He moves. He opens the front door, and there's a pathway that kind of leads out of the east wing of the Shrine Temple. The path goes around and curves to the left, that leads to perhaps a larger sort of garden space that actually you guys have gone through before when you jumped out of Mara's bedroom window. You kind of jumped down into the garden space and snuck around. You're actually on the pretty much the exact opposite side of the temple building. Oh, okay. You're on exactly the opposite side of the temple building as you were when you exited out of Mara's window. He follows the path around to the left. There's hedgerows kind of flanking the base of the exterior temple walls. There's an old willow tree that's just about beginning to show some signs of budding on the right-hand side of this path as it curves around to the left. It swings around in smooth, almost like river-like estuary sort of bends, and he's not really focusing too much on those bends. He's just kind of making a beeline of straight between, getting his boots wet on the kind of dewy grass in this early spring sort of climb. He makes his way through the garden and to a gate. So there's like a fence running around the edge of this sort of rear garden. Sort of like a iron wrought sort of fence. So regular posts with sort of flowing kind of wet lines of iron metal work kind of latticing its way around this fence, around the exterior of the temple. He approaches a gate that's on the far side, not far away from Mara's window actually, opens it up, closes it behind him, and then makes his way to pretty posh-looking homestead, Cheryl Novaste's home. We're reaching the end of my ad-lib bit. utility here. He makes his way through to the front of this beautiful, like, two sort of columns in a front porchway that's occupied by a couple of pots that might contain plants during the summertime, but the kind of stems of whatever's in there at the moment are in the process of recuperating after winter's kind of rain and spring has come. He goes up to a large reinforced wooden door, and he sighs loudly, and he turns around and he looks back the way that he came, and he holds his head in his hands. What would you guys like to do?
Have we we used how much of our half hour?
It's been about another 5 minutes, so it's freaking like 25 minutes or so.
We could be in his house.
Yeah. Brüz is just far too entertained by this ruse to abandon it now, so he's hanging on, just waiting to see like what he says
get in his house
to
and steal his
whom he
stuff.
says it to, and then like if we've got half an hour, Brüz feels like 10 minutes of escape time.
Okay, so
is more than enough.
Eventually, he turns around.
We're in the house and then fall off.
Effectively, you've got about 10 minutes of time by the time he calms himself down, turns around, swears to himself, and opens up his front door, steps inside. There's a regal sort of open front room space. There's a narrow corridor immediately on the right-hand side. You can see straight... you actually can't really make out much because you're on the back of his legs, but you get the sense it's a finely decorated wooden paneling sort of leading up to halfway up the walls as he turns right.
Of rich mahogany.
A rich carved mahogany. And he immediately turns right into a very narrow corridor that you feel belies or is different from the kind of decor that he might be used to in the rest of his homestead. Down that narrow corridor into another
let's keep hanging on.
Yeah, you do so.
But be ready to jump off.
He goes into the keys again, pulls out another one, smaller than the rest, puts it in the lock and unlocks it, kind of puts himself inside, closes the door behind and locks. There's a stool in the corner that he sits on, and as he pulls the stool up and sits down on it, the kind of four legs of the stool come very, very close to kind of grazing you off of the back of his legs. And as he does, kind of like slumps forward.
Let's climb down
onto the floor.
Okay.
Yeah,
you jump on.
Just staying under the seat.
Yeah. You get the sense as you kind of jump off and look around, he kind of like exasperatedly sighs and kind of starts murmuring to himself. And he looks ahead and you see this is almost like a cupboard, it's so small. But in a small sort of set of shelving units, not dissimilar to the ones that were in the vault inside the temple, actually, there is a metal box. And he kind of stands up again after another couple of minutes, approaches the kind of reinforced metal box. It's got a kind of like... a rotating sort of wheel on the front that you're not sure about what it means, but a dial of some kind. And as he rotates it around, you hear as if he's rotating it in a pattern that will unlock it eventually. He does so and kind of looks inside and he pulls out
his face with golden light.
Indeed. The metal box is pretty large. It takes up the majority of the shelf, and there are sacks, and he kind of like opens one up, and even from where you're standing, I'll say oh god, what's the movie?
Pulp Fiction?
But Pulp Fiction, when he opens the suitcase, right? There's gold pieces aplenty within this safe. He pulls out something that looks like a pearl that is a little bit larger than most of the pearls that you've seen before. Pulls out a ring with apparently like it's an interesting one because it appears to go over 2 fingers. He kind of like thinks about it for a bit. He concentrates and closes his eyes and he recites murmurs some words, and you see the gemstones on the ring flash.
Huh.
He slips it onto the 2 fingers that are on his left hand, his middle finger, and then his penultimate finger. So not between the little finger and the middle finger. He slips it on. He pops the pearl in one of his pockets as well, and out comes a dagger, ornately carved, gemstones encrusting along the sheath. He kind of looks around and slings that to his side as well. Closes the safe, walks to the door and swings it open, unlocks it, opens it up again. The door opens. He steps out. What are you guys going to do?
So we've got our 10 minutes left on this wild shape.
In the time it's taken him to slowly kind of peruse what's inside, he's almost like savoring every second, and every time he brings out a new kind of item,
Pauses and thinks about it.
Yeah.
I might say that if Brüz feels that he's kind of lingering and just kind of longing for these belongings, he's going to like get a look at them, go, all right, nah, he's not going to report back to somebody. He's actually just afraid of losing what he feels is his. He's going to notion to Nuru whilst he's distracted by these various things that they make their break for it, out of this room into a corridor and then towards the first source of light for windows and exits that we can get to.
Okay. As he opens the door, you make your way out towards this narrower corridor. He swings it closed behind you, and as you're approaching it, it closes, and you hear the locking mechanism engage. For a moment, you panic, and then you realize you're a bug. You can fit in the crack underneath the door. Unlike the ones inside the temple, this is just a regular reinforced
ordinary door.
Well, it's reinforced.
Regular door.
So you crawl underneath. You can see the figure of Cheryl Navaste disappearing, turning slightly right as he reaches the end of this narrow corridor. Wood paneling is on the left and right hand side, going about halfway up the wall, and then immediately above it you can see on the left hand side now a kind of long thin window, not letting through all that much light, but it's made of several panels, and the panel in the center of this set of 3 is hanging open.
Brüz spots that, and with the last ounce of his pass without a trace spell, and while he hightail it, dash as much a bug can.
Yep, sure.
And outside, and then to try and make sure that we're not outsiding ourselves into a locked courtyard. Once looking through the window, does it look like a locked courtyard?
No, you get the sense that the gate that he walked through was like an exterior gate to the temple grounds, and this house is like almost the first sort of building that's outside the grounds. Actually, as you look around, you see on the right hand side a road that kind of runs, and the cast iron kind of fence that runs around the garden of the temple almost meets the edge of the road, and it continues running into town.
Okay.
We hightail for the somewhere sort of secluded and covered as close to that road as possible.
Yep.
Which we can still kind of like. There's no like massive wall to vault over or anything like that.
Well, even if there was, you're bugs and you could probably crawl over it or through it. But there isn't. There's just it's just like a open porchway. There are a couple of trees around. You might want to like position yourself beside them before jumping back into your humanoid form.
That was the idea.
Yeah, that's
looking for somewhere secluded and covered to be able to revert to our normal forms and be able to saunter off casually and calmly.
You do so, and might I just say, as all of the things that you had to do today are ticked off, Bloody hell, guys.
They bought some holy water.
Way
Nope.
to... No, they didn't.
Nope, we didn't.
do that.
I know.
Way to make a freaking DM sweat. Jesus Christ. Cool. Right. That is all of the items that I had on the agenda for the day done. You have gone to the arcane shop and done some studying and actually learned, created, and prepared some new spells. You visited the bakery. You've bought some provisions. You visited Kylan and filled him in as to what's going on, given him some things to think about. And you've gone on an exploration to find holy water, and it resulted in considerably more. Great. You guys all touch base in the tavern at the end of the day. For the sake of sort of keeping this brief, because I'm aware that this has gone on for a bit longer than I had originally envisaged. I mean, obviously, I'll go by the will of the players as to how long you want to spend on any one thing. But you're able to relay all of the information that you were able to discover. Let's say,
Yep.
in confidence.